this in a studio somewhere far, far away.
You bugger!
Picture this. Picture this.
Say, kids, what time is it? It's time for
The Mary Whitehouse Experience. Okay, right. Today, finally, is the day that Germany reunifies. Now, I worry about this because whenever I meet individual Germans, they never seem at all chastened by history. They still seem to think that they are part of an innately superior nation, despite the fact that they're all really ugly, and the only good band they've ever produced is Boney M, who themselves were hardly a product of Aryan genetic engineering. So the new Germany is, I understand, to have a new name, which is interesting because, like, Germany's always been keen on offering its neighbours a new name, Germany. I'm David Baddiel, and this is Punt and Dennis. Yes, today effectively is the day that the Second World War finally finishes.
Just in time for the third one to break out.
And where are the Germans 50 years on? In the desert, in tanks. This time, of course, they are part of the Western Alliance, and you can easily tell the German tanks, they're the ones that always start first thing in the morning.
I mean, they're just incredibly reliable.
And of course, you can always tell the British tanks, they're the ones being driven by the Iraqis. To reassure anybody who is still worried about the new united Germany, they've also kindly rewritten the words of their national anthem.
Deutschland, Deutschland, über nobody.
Now, at this point, we must say that on this subject, we wouldn't wish to be associated with the views of Nicholas Ridley.
No, because Nicholas Ridley is so patently an arsehole. The sort of man who, when you see him like in a hard hat on a building site, you think, oh, he looks a bit of an arsehole in that hat, and then you realise it's not the hat. The new Germany, of course, promises to follow the spirit of the new barrier-free united Europe, a spirit which is also being demonstrated admirably recently by French farmers. The government have decided that they're fed up with our land being attacked on its way through France. The next batch of British sheep are going in there prepared.
Still, we do get our own back. For instance, the BBC has sold Allo Allo to French television. Which is a bit like selling Midnight Express to the Turkish Tourist Board.
Now, Crime Stoppers would like to hear if anyone has been trying to sell you one of these car stereos. How much were they asking? £60? £70? It may sound too good to be true, but be advised. You can get them from me for 30 quid.
Our audience tonight have got here by various means, including one man who appears to come direct from Shenley by dial-a-ride, but unfortunately no one has come by the first form of transport we're going to look at in the transport experience, the seesaw hand-operated railway trolley, as used by Laurel and Hardy, and now an integral part of the government's plans for privatising the railway. Then there is the bus. Certainly, in a busy city centre, there's no vehicle better equipped for nipping through the rush hour traffic than a 200-ton diesel-powered traction engine. In major cities, there are also night buses which never arrive. Now, in London, night buses leave from Trafalgar Square, which is why it's always so packed by the end of the year. And there are certain things you will always hear while waiting for public transport. Waiting for a bus, someone will always say,
Oh, you wait for ages, and then 4 come at the same time.
waiting for a train, someone will always say,
Typical British man.
and of course on the underground, someone will always say, fire, fire! So your best bet, contrary to all environmental considerations, is to travel by car. And an indispensable aid to getting around in your car is the A to Z. All city street finders are called the A to Z, except Beirut's, which is called the A to B. Apart from these, there is also the Nicholson Street Finder.
I gotta tell you guys, I don't know where the I am. Eyebrows that got lost as well.
Now, cars
Cars, of course, are very dangerous, and from an early age we are taught road safety. Now, this used to be in the form of the curb drill, which was very easy to remember. It went,
Look right, look left, look right again, and if nothing's coming, you obviously don't live in London.
The other problem with cars is that they go wrong and you have to go to the garage. And there, car mechanics always mystify the process of fixing your car. I mean, especially if it's foreign. If your car is anything except a Ford Granada, you might as well be asking them to fix the Arkansas Chugger-Bug. But as we all know from watching Grand Prix, a car can go into the pits on fire and be back on the track in seconds.
And in the last lap of the British Grand Prix, Alain Prost has built up a lead of over 14 seconds over Ayrton Senna. So surely now the championship is in the bag as he goes into the pits for his last pit stop.
Vite, complete tire change and oil in the turbo shaft.
sorry, mate, there's no way I'll fit you in today. Sorry, no. I'll tell you what, I might have it done for you Thursday. Leave the keys, give us a ring around lunch.
What? Hurry up, you stupid man! I've already lost 5 seconds to Senna!
Trouble is, you see, these just aren't built for speed. They're not built for speed. What you want is a Ford Granada. In fact, I'll tell you what.
And Ayrton Senna has taken the lead, but now out of the pits, here comes Alain Prost in a Ford Granada gear. The one they bought off me for 20 quid. And it's Senna in the McLaren with turbocharge, and Prost in the Granada gear with the mock leather steering wheel cover and the cassette player that does not work.
What of the future? Well, probably the biggest transport project at the moment is the Channel Tunnel. But unfortunately, the Channel Tunnel has run out of money. Now, most people's reaction to this is obviously, ha 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 ha! We never wanted the bloody thing anyway. But obviously this is not the view of those more deeply involved. For a more in-depth analysis, our political correspondent.
Reaction at Westminster to the news of the financial difficulties for the tunnel project was mixed. But the general reaction seemed to be, ha 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 ha! We never wanted the bloody thing anyway.
But the Channel Tunnel will get built. After all, when it comes to tunnelling difficulties, they've never daunted the British before.
Right, everybody, money or no money, I want these tunnels finished by the night of the 13th. Who's with us? Danny, Hiltz, Colin.
Let me come with you. I can see perfectly.
The amazing thing about the Channel Tunnel is how on earth we ever persuaded the French to build a tunnel with us in the first place. Let's face it, our record on subterranean transport systems is not good.
This is the Channel Tunnel Line Information Service. Malheureusement, il y a un failure de point à Calais jusqu'à Tottenham Court Road. Aussi, il n'y a pas d'escalators à Calais, donc il faut utiliser les stairs. Merci.
I'd like now to do a reading from Heathcote Williams' classic conservation poem, Whale Nation. Now, those of you who are already familiar with this poem may perhaps notice that I've taken the liberty of adding one or two of my own lines here or there, but I trust you agree with me that this doesn't interfere with the poem's original meaning in any way. Whale Nation. Out of the body of one whale is made oil, jewellery, clothes, medicine, soap, furniture, cosmetics and ornaments. What a bargain! Try getting all that lot out of a panda.
Who can say what really constitutes perversion? I mean, for me, the man who sits on a vibrating love egg in an inflatable body stocking is less perverted than Robert Robinson's wife.
I mean, Jesus, the fact that Robert Robinson is married means that someone actually exists who watches Call My Bluff and thinks, oh, sit on that.
Well, next week on Sex Talk, we'll be looking at those types of sexuality that have always been considered criminal, such as bestiality. Now, in terms of crime solving, this one is obviously a lot more difficult than most because usually it's rather difficult for the animal to report the crime, except in very unusual cases.
Up it's a dibble, it was terrible, up it's a dibble. Oh, please, wonderful dreams, those dirty creatures. Lovely jump. I knew I shouldn't go round wearing just a waistcoat. This sort of thing was bound to happen.
Why, I'm sorry, TC. Next time I'll use some KY jelly.
Beyond bestiality, there are also people who go to the zoo and get turned on by watching the animals mating. Well, certainly this is more cost-effective than going to any other type of sex show. I mean, at least while you're standing there waiting for the gorillas to get randy, Johnny Morris doesn't come out and say,
"You've got to buy a drink now. It costs £15.
The day's top stories: United Amalgamated bid for Consolidated Incorporated. Incorporated United in leveraged buyout struggle, and Amalgamated Consolidated offer a second rights issue ahead of half-year profit announcement. Later on, we'll be asking, who gives a toss? Also, John Major says we are not heading for a recession. He also says he met Elvis at the deli counter in Tesco. But now, the financial news roundup. What happened in the market today?
Well, in the market today, I got some dodgy cassettes for $1.99. The sound quality's crap, but they were cheap. Now, some company results announced today: ICI 2, Chelsea 0, and Woolsby British Gas is a late kick-off. Now a look at today's markets in detail.
Well, shares rose on opening, but slipped back mid-morning when supply figures were released, rising again strongly before lunch on the rumour that there was lasagna on the menu in the canteen. News that a man had fallen off a bus in Gloucestershire sent dealers into panic selling, and when Jeremy at Hambros remembered he'd forgotten to set the video for Inspector Morse, the market collapsed completely.
Well, later on in the programme, we'll be discussing personal savings. How can you best invest £1,000? Should you put it in a high-yield capital growth account, purchase a personal equity plan, or buy a gallon of 4-Star? We'll also be asking, how can you get a guaranteed overdraft? The answer, of course, is spend more money than you've got in your bank account. Good night.
Now, Crime Stoppers would like to hear from you if you can answer any of the following questions. Were you in the Sydenham area last Wednesday night? Did you talk to a man in a blue anorak? Do you know the way to San Jose? If you think I'm sexy and you want my body, come on, honey, tell me so. If you really need me, just reach out and touch me, and you could win a Community Action Trust reward.
With the Birmingham 6 appeal about to start, we thought it was about time a programme took an in-depth look at the history of the Irish conflict. How did it all start? Well, some historians arbitrarily date the war from the potato famine of 1841, during which time the Irish people were enraged by the incomprehension of English aristocrats.
Well, perhaps there are no potatoes, but you know, have they never heard of pasta? Or tzatziki? I mean, get me over there, I'll whip them up a light moussaka.
But what really upset the Irish at this stage, at the height of the potato famine, was the opening in Britain in 1893 of the first ever Spud You Like. Now, in the present day, amongst the blind passion and extreme opinion, one still small voice of calm is Ian Paisley's. Now, we all know about Ian Paisley, the campaigner, but what I want to know is, how does the Reverend conduct his ordinary pastoral care?
That'll be the minister now.
Hello, Mrs. Williams! I was saddened to hear about the death of your neighbour!
Yes, well, we were all very fond of old Mr. Dalton.
Because I was hoping to get the pudding before he died, the dirty, fiend bastard! Well, can I have some tea and biscuits?
Ian Paisley...
Two sugars, please!
Ian Paisley is very against the Anglo-Irish Agreement, but he shouldn't be, as all the Anglo-Irish Agreement actually says is Dana is crap. Meanwhile, it is, of course, impossible to criticise the role of the SAS in the Irish problem, as the SAS are the last vestige of British national pride. Like we may have lost an empire, a manufacturing industry, and every single round of Je Sens Frontière, but we do have these 8 blokes who are really quite hard. The IRA contend that part of the propaganda struggle is against the British cultural stereotype of the thick paddy. Well, one thing we might suggest in aid of this particular struggle is don't carry on putting bombs under the wrong cars. Although obviously when it comes to getting the wrong people, the IRA don't compare to the British legal system. If the government really want to keep public opinion against the IRA, it shouldn't be Gerry Adams who you're not allowed to hear directly on TV, but Lord Denning.
And then Lord Denning claimed that he still maintained it would have been better if the Birmingham 6 had been hung. He went on to say that the real emergency at the moment was the Suez crisis. That Cromwell must go, and that he could have bought the same Javanese crackers from Medomsley Road Concert.
The case of the Birmingham 6 and the Guildford 4 demonstrate finally that anyone with an Irish accent who lives and works in this country is under suspicion.
Pretends to quell the audience despite the fact that there are 5 people off camera holding up boards that say applaud, applaud. So, little joke there, which dies terribly. So, hello tonight, and my guest, Jan Francis.
All right, that's it. I've heard enough. You're nicked.
It's because I'm Irish, isn't it?
No. It's because you're rubbish.
Oh, right, I've come up here to do a quick audience survey to find out what people's favourite records are of all time, because it interests me. You, sir, what's your favourite record of all time? Any record you like?
Anyone Can Fall in Love by Anita Dobson.
Good choice, good choice. Yeah, that's also my own favourite record. Members of the audience, if I want to shout out now, if you could just shout out your favourite records of all time, OK? Now. That's remarkable. I think, though, right, the reason that record is so popular is, you may remember, it very cleverly fitted the lyric, Anyone Can Fall in Love, around the theme tune.
Da 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 da.
You see, anyone can fall in love. You see, although presumably, had the theme tune gone...
Da 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 da.
The lyric would have been, anyone can fall in some custard. But 3 years on, right, and other celebrities are picking up on the idea of releasing records with the lyrics fitted around the theme tune of their programme. First on vinyl, Alistair Burnett.
I love you so, don't want to let you go. I love you so, oh please don't tell me no. Woman, you're so sexy. I'm not a gigolo girl, and you're just a very special lady. Mama's got a brand new bag. Sandy.
There is no doubt that most people are actually excited by the prospect of war in the Gulf. It's like when a crowd gathers around 2 men about to have a ruck. Everybody wants the fight to happen, which is perhaps why, so far in fact, the only placatory measure that has been taken by the West is the collective decision by Western diplomats to call Saddam Hussein by his first name. Are they being chummy? Where is it going to stop?
Well, what you have to remember, of course, is that whole Kurdish villages have been wiped out in chemical weapon attacks instigated by Sadders. And really, Sad the Lad, as I call him, is a ruthless dictator of a type who I can only compare with Addy Waddy Hitler.
Of course, this might have something to do with the fact that up to 2 months ago, we were best mates with Sadders. At any moment, though, the problem is Iraq may use mustard gas, but in such a circumstance, the British military are prepared to respond immediately with Piccalilli gas. With talk of chemical weapons, it is a relief to remember that some people have already got out.
Today, Iraqi sources confirmed that British women would be allowed to leave Iraq. This is John Simpson for the 9 o'clock news in Baghdad.
Meanwhile, if war does break out, we can at least be reassured by the knowledge that it will involve a concerted multinational peacekeeping force.
Fighting finally broke out in the Gulf today between the Americans and the French. Apparently, General Field Marshal Gruber of the 3rd Airborne Armoured Division was heard to refer to Charles Aznavour as a faggot. John Simpson is on the scene.
Dawn in Baghdad. That's my new name. Dawn in Baghdad for the 9 o'clock news.
And now we're going over live to Baghdad for a satellite link-up with Saddam Hussein. Hello, President, can you hear me?
Hello, David. I'm a big fan of the Happy Mondays. He's going to step on you again. Stand the percivade.
Yes, thank you, President. I did say this was a live satellite link-up, so could you just wait 3 seconds after everything I say, looking a bit lost and puzzled?
Yes, David. You know these satellite photos? They remind me of when you go up to a urinal and then you relax and it's all about to happen, but then there's a 3-second delay before anything actually comes out.
Yes, especially when there's somebody standing next to you.
Yes, David. You know, sometimes then I have to pretend that I was just finishing and go out still needing to go.
Yes. Now, President, how have you been affected by the cutting off of all trade links with the West?
Oh, it's great. It means I don't have to pay these. Love and thanks to Tom King. Good night and stay baggy.
One thing that has become clear about Iraq is that in every street there are numerous large pictures of Saddam Hussein. Baghdad is his personal giant photo album. In any batch of photos, however, there are going to be some you'd rather people didn't see.
Oh no, they've used the one that makes me look like Dickie Davis. I look like I'm on bloody Sports Masters.
We have learned a lot about Iraq, although we're yet to find out exactly why it is that their TV news starts with some graphics that were turned down by Cheggers Plays Pop. Also, doesn't Saddam get pissed off about how much his spokesman looks like him?
And furthermore, we warn the Western invaders of the Holy Territory that the will of the Iraqi people is strong and no hardship will be too great before the day of triumph for the glorious...
Hey, you! You've ripped off my whole bloody image. I mean, if I'd wanted a look-alike, I would have written into stars in their eyes. It has taken me many years of hard work to work out this look. Sort of Omar Sharif meets Bagpuss.
It was undoubtedly the Iraqi invasion, though, which put paid to Kuwait City's bid to host the 1996 Olympics. Although it did still finish ahead of Manchester.
And now, the Dungeons and Dragons Experience, an interactive audience participation fantasy adventure. Dare you try to recover the 3 sacred weapons of Trollsbane and face the fearsome smeg beast of Throck. Of course you don't. That's why you have to play fantasy games with all the other sad gits taking time off from train spotting. Using this computer, we will enter a landscape of trolls and goblins, of mountains and fortresses, a land such as can normally only be entered on the covers of albums by particularly crap heavy metal bands.
Long ago, in a distant time.
Yeah, this isn't a lager ad, actually. Hugh, if you could just get on with it in your normal voice, OK?
Long, long ago, in a distant time, there lived a fearsome
dragon beast of doom
in the land of Gonad. And in the valley by the great river, we find our hero, a young goblin by the name of...
OK, this is your first chance to enter the story, to enter a world of fantasy and imagination. You, sir, what is your name and what do you do?
My name is Ron.
Ron?
And I don't do anything.
You don't do anything, OK? Ron, the unemployed person. OK. OK, Ron, the unemployed person, you are to join a party of mighty warriors who include Boron the Magnificent, Osric the Mighty, and Ron, the unemployed person. What task do you choose? Task A, Task B, or Task C?
D.
Now, don't be clever, Rod, just because you're on the dole, all right? You still have an education, so Task A, Task B, or Task C?
I will do A.
A. He has chosen task A.
Ron has chosen task A. Before he goes on, let's just see what he could have chosen. Task B was to have come to the BBC bar afterwards and we'll buy him a drink. Task C was to have gone on a weekend in Paris with Fiona Armstrong, but no, he chose A, which is to recover the 3 sacred weapons of Trollsbane, which have been stolen.
So, were you in the Trollsbane area last Thursday night? Did you see a gang of goblins and pixies carrying a huge sword making their getaway in a V-Reg Ford Granada? If you did, tell me where you got the stuff, because I'd like to try it as well.
Your task, Ron, the unemployed person, is to make your way to the Fortress of Eternal Thingy, and there to recover the 3 sacred weapons. Does he accept the challenge?
Does Ron
Yes,
accept? Oh, he does.
I do
right,
accept the challenge.
He does accept the challenge.
Then proceed.
You set out across the marshes of despair, where you may at any time face certain doom. For above you circle fierce death hawks, which will attack completely at random.
You enter the Forest of Temptation, where dwell the seductive and beautiful wood nymphs. Fortunately, in your pocket, you always carry a condom. Now, you are lost in the great forest. But wait, over in yon glade is one of the little people.
And the producer said to me, Ronnie, he said to me, Ronnie, as he does quite often. By the way, I should explain, should advise you, don't eat one of these mushrooms, you know. I had one of these earlier, and look what happened to the set of Sorry.
Either you can carry on listening to Ronnie, or you can have him disemboweled by the smeg beast of Throp. I can't believe you're thinking about it.
We'll go for the disembowelment.
We'll go for the disemboweling. Can we have the disemboweling? Thank you, Steve. Okay. Now you approach the Crag Fortress of Eternal Thingy, but first, you must answer the riddle of the gatekeeper, the most dreaded creature of all, the horrifying, the hideous, 3-headed Savile monster.
Now then. As it happens, 15 years ago, what was the #1 sound?
All right, Ron, have you got any idea? 15 years ago today, what was the #1 sound?
The Laughing Gnome, David Bowie.
The Laughing Gnome by David Bowie is wrong. Does anyone else want to help Ron the unemployed person with this? Any ideas for 15 years ago what the #1 sound was?
Anyone who's fallen in love by Anita Johnson?
Don't be stupid. That was obviously only 3 years ago. Does anyone else know? Anyone else want to have a go?
Kung Fu Fighting.
Kung Fu Fighting, that's good enough because it's so original, it was such a great song. So that's right, and that's the correct answer. And so with the help of the audience, you have managed to get through into the fortress, and you, Ron the unemployed person, are now the proud owner of the 3 sacred weapons of Trollsbane. The Sword of Randall.
Randall's sword.
The Shield of Crondor.
Crondor's shield.
And the Axe of Nopolt.
Nopolt's axe.
Actually, there are quite a few other social issues we haven't covered yet. Yeah, like employment law.
Yeah, there's a crime rise, destruction of the rainforest.
Well, lads,
Something I want to talk about.
Portrait of a Marriage.
Picture this in a studio somewhere far, far away.
You bugger.
Picture this. Picture this.
Whitehouse Experience. Thank you. So, has John Major got a moustache, or what?
I mean, something's wrong if he hasn't, because clearly God intended him to have a moustache. It's like there's a moustache in there bursting to get out.
But what is it? It seems to be a sort of skin moustache. It's like what you might expect to see if you'd just been staring at a moustache-shaped light bulb and then immediately looked at his face.
John Major has said that he's going to do away with the upper class, but all he seems to have really done away with is the upper lip. In fact, in Madonna's recent lip implant operation, John Major is believed to have been the donor.
Right, well, tonight here in the studio, we've got a fairly good cross-section of the public. So I'd just like to ask you, how many of you would think of yourselves as working class? Fine, right, OK. So how many of you think of yourselves as upper class? No upper class. Right, so how many are middle class? And how many of you think the whole concept of class distinction is a politically motivated tool of bourgeois capitalism to maintain the status quo? How many of you think... Fair amount, fair amount. How many of you think status quo haven't done anything decent since down,
Most of the audience. Now, the reason we ask is because John Major has said that he wants to see a classless society, so that we thought we'd look at the implications of this for the future.
There's no doubt that Britain is probably the most class-conscious country in the world.
Well, you would think that.
Why?
Because you're rather common.
So where do we find our classless role model? The answer, of course, is in the Prime Minister. John Major's main electoral asset is his classlessness. He has worked his way up from a humble childhood background. In the new classless Britain, what will happen to the royal family? With only one class, there will be only one combined set of social conventions.
Miss Nadine Grant and Mr. Gary Shagger Jackson.
In a truly classless Britain, social occasions for the upper class, like Ascot, would have to be abolished. Its classless replacement as a summer gathering place would be Gatwick Airport.
Welcome to Departure Lounge, and what a marvellous afternoon.
Yes, indeed, and just look at the hats. Some truly wonderful hats this year. Her Majesty the Queen wearing a very fetching I Heart Benny Dawn beanie hat, which tones in beautifully with her shiny tracksuit bottoms and Reeboks.
Oh, and over there, the Duchess of Marlborough wearing a very stylish Brits on the Piss 1991 t-shirt and a pair of cheap sunglasses from the Sky Shop.
But the big question, of course, is what will Princess Diana be wearing? Whatever she wears, she invariably looks wonderful.
Yes, indeed, Nigel. She could wear a large dog turd on her head and she would still look wonderful.
Oh, and there is Princess Diana wearing a large dog turd on her head. She looks wonderful.
And now I believe we can go over to our first event, the beginners 3/4 of a mile laughing at each other's passport photographs handicap chase.
Mr. Gary Sadler and some bloke he met in the pub who claims to be a friend of Ian's and told him there was a party here.
Now, last Friday midnight, the junction of Kilburn High Road and Willesden Lane, a violent affray involving two men. One was aged around 30 and wearing a brown leather car coat style car coat, and the other man was me. So if you have any information at all about this crime, please keep it under your hat, and you could win a Community Action Trust reward.
One of the most irritating things about the charts in 1990 was that it was almost impossible to have a hit record unless it had been in an advert, like Blue Velvet for Nivea, Take My Breath Away for Peugeot, and the Steve Miller Band for Levi's. Talking of which, how did he get that motorbike past reception? And how come he just rides the motorbike straight out of the lift? Did he turn it round inside, or did he back it in on the ground floor? Anyway, since it seems almost impossible now to have a hit without a song from an advert, we can expect other bands to take note.
Okay, let's run down the top 5 of this week's chart. At number 5, it's the Happy Mondays with their version of Their Tasty, Tasty, Very, Very Tasty. Number 4, the Sundays with their beautiful reworking of You Do the Shake and Vac and Put the Freshness Back. At 3, no change. It's still Now Hands That Do Dishes Are As Soft As Your Face with Mild Green Fairy Liquid from, of course, Public Enemy with MC Nanette Newman. 2, Adamski and We Are Lucky Cows, We Chew the Cud and Browse. But for the 6th week running, Britain's number 1 is still only the crumbliest, flakiest chocolate tastes like chocolate never tasted before, from, of course, Sinead O'Connor.
And now, a witty monologue from Jonathan Ross.
All right, well, all right. And, all right. And, all right. Well, all right.
In April, BT are introducing charges for using directory inquiries. But what is the point when you can use the phone book, which you can also use to find people with funny names and ring them up with your mates giggling?
435-8228, Alan Smelly speaking.
Oh, are you smelly? Is that A Smelly? Am I talking to A Smelly?
Oh dear.
Hello, are you smelly?
Yes.
We'll have a bath then.
That was the funniest thing ever.
Now, who wants a curly whirly?
People with names that might involve this kind of victimisation often try and avoid it by taking liberties with pronunciation.
Hello, 435-1507, Mr. Warren Kerr speaking.
Well, it doesn't work quite so well now.
A genuine one of these is there are people in the phone directory called Shuffle Bottom, but no matter how often or how late you ring them up, they will always insist on their name actually being Shouflé Botham. It's true, but it's definitely spelt Shuffle Bottom. I suppose it's fair enough if you are named after a method of canine personal hygiene.
The other main experience a kid has with phones is making a rudimentary telephone out of 2 labelless baked bean tins attached by a piece of string through a hole in the Botham.
Hello?
Now, the point about these things is that they never work. You think at first they do work until you realise you're just hearing your friend in the other ear.
In fact, these were completely pointless, as by the time you got the string long enough not to hear your friend in the other ear, it was too long to carry the sound vibrations. Then all you might be able to make out was the sound of him getting run over in the road outside.
Since privatisation, you can now get an itemised phone bill. I've always thought that itemised bills should be sent out by other privatised industries, like, for example, water and sewage.
Darling, did you do 3 dumps on the 3rd of May? And I didn't have a curry on the 5th of June. That's it, we're going to have to get a logbook.
Incidentally, when they privatised electricity, they'd have sold a lot more shares if instead of all that Frankenstein stuff, they'd just show New Kids on the Block connected up to the national grid.
Your most valuable phone accessory is the answer phone, although not if you insist on putting a wacky outgoing message on it. In fact, normally, the more wacky the outgoing message, the sadder the life of the person who made it.
Hey, you're through to Ken Collins' crazy loony bin. I'm out with Maria Whittaker at the moment. Not really. So, leave me a message after the tone, but I shouldn't think I'll phone you back. I'm too busy partying. Mr. Collins, this is the gas board. You're sacked.
You can now buy these answer phone messages with like impressions of famous people already on them. Unfortunately, the friends of the type of people who are likely to buy these are likely to be confused by them.
Oh, sorry, Prince Charles. I didn't know you'd moved in with Barry.
Most of the phone network, however, is now occupied by sex lines. These have proliferated so much that in an average newspaper there is now more space devoted to adverts for sex lines than to the Gulf crisis. The effects of their popularity could be far-reaching on all types of news.
He wears her panties on 0898 444 444. I'll bend over so you can see on 0898 444 455. And on 0898 444 555, he's got a woman's name, Sandy.
The point about 0898 numbers is that they have no sex in them at all. You're more likely to get a hard-on phoning the speaking clock. And it's so obvious that the women who are speaking on these tapes are not the same women as pictured in the adverts. You can tell from the voices. Let's phone one up now and put it through our studio speakers, right? This one is called I Am a Horny 18-Year-Old Virgin.
Hello. One is a horny 18-year-old.
Mr. Ernie Spencer of Wiltshire sent us in a letter asking to know the history of the telephone. Well, Mr. Spencer, here goes. The first telephone conversation was conducted on February the 14th, 1876 by Alexander Graham Bell, a momentous day for telecommunications.
This is Alexander Graham Bell speaking.
Is that A. Bell? Are you A. Bell?
Sorry?
Hello? Is that A. Bell I can hear?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Well, you better go and see who's at the door then.
Thank you. Right, I've just been handed our first letter of complaint. It was faxed through to us after our first experience, but as always with letters of complaint, you know, it seems to be written by someone who appears to be genetically defective. I mean, literally, it says, Dear BBC, why is the structure of my chromosomes. Anyway, this is the time of year when you tend to hear this sort of thing non-stop.
Hi, how are you?
Not too good, actually. I feel a bit fluey.
Yeah, you got a nagging headache and you feel tired all the time? Yeah. I had that. I think there's some sort of a bug going round.
All right.
Whatever you've got, it's always some sort of bug, and they've always had it as well. The best thing to do with people like this is to worry them.
Hi, how are you?
Well, not too good, actually. I feel a bit fluey.
Yeah. Have you got like sort of nagging headache and you feel tired all the time?
Yeah.
I think you've got a brain tumour.
Yeah, I think there's one going round.
Throughout history, human beings have always suffered from illnesses, but the reaction has always been the same.
What ho, Sarah? How goes thou?
In faith, not so good. I think I got Black Death.
Yeah. I've read that. Yeah, have you got like sort of huge pustules that weep?
Yeah. You had like nausea and vomiting.
Yeah, I read that. Yeah. Have you got like sort of convulsions?
Yeah.
Agonising death.
Yeah. No, I haven't had that.
No. Neither have I. That must be some sort of bug.
In medieval times, the average life expectancy was much lower than it is today, and many diseases which are now easily curable were then fatal.
And finally tonight, Sir Richard of Leicester, the famous soldier and elder statesman, has died aged 32 after a long struggle against a slight headache. Meanwhile, King Louis VII of France has died aged 13. He was suffering from delusions and tried to remove his own appendix, thinking he was Doogie Howser, MD.
Despite the gruelling hours and long training, many people still want to enter the medical profession, attracted by its media image as portrayed in such masterpieces as Carry On Doctor. If only the NHS was really like that.
Mr. Speaker, we shall be providing an additional £50 million in NHS funding this year. That includes £10 million for large hypodermic syringes for Jim Dale to carry facing forwards when Hattie Jakes is bending over. Furthermore, we shall provide at least one lovely pair for every hospital fruit bowl in case Barbara Windsor should visit. And furthermore, I should say that under Labour, the resources allocated to be able to train doctors to say, oh, matron was reduced by 50%.
As part of the NHS reforms, the government are rumoured to be considering introducing an Australian-style flying doctor service into this country. In the back of the plane, of course, is the flying waiting room.
OK, Mr. McCready, come back next week. Tell me if it feels any better.
However, there are signs that even with the flying doctor, there will still be a problem with waiting lists. Now, one thing that does the medical profession no end of good is the behaviour of medical students. Whenever you see medical students in the street, it's always incredibly worrying to think just what these people are going to end up doing.
Scalpel.
Scalpel.
Forceps.
Forceps.
Ragmag.
Ragmag.
Right, come on, Mr. Jackson, we're not taking your appendix out till you buy a ragmag. The first thing that happens when you arrive at medical school is that each student gets given a dead body to use for dissection. Now, anybody who's ever met anyone to do with the medical profession will know that these bodies are invariably acquired under false pretenses.
Now, Mr. Harmsworth, this is the form, the consent form for your grandfather's body to be used for medical research.
I see.
You understand before you signed what the terms of this form state?
Yes.
That your grandfather's body will be used in the training of anatomy and for purposes of medico-pharmacological research.
Yes.
Also that at the end of term, bits of him will be left on bus seats for a laugh. And also that he may well be wheeled around hospital corridors with a funny hat on as part of our post-exam celebrations.
It's what he would have wanted.
Now, take a close look at this pair of gentleman's pants-style gentleman's underpants. You may notice a slight tear on the left hip. If you think you can mend them, please phone the Crime Stoppers number, as I'd hate to have to throw them away.
John Major is supposed to have adopted a new, gentler approach to Europe, which is a shame, as most Euro analysts now believe that as differences between partners become more and more intractable, the community will turn to a new criteria to sort out its arguments. Which of its leaders is the most hard? Our political correspondent.
Well, clearly, against a tall man like Helmut Kohl, John Major would have a number of options open to him. He could nut him. He could get in a quick burst of punches and hope he'd done enough. Or most impressively, he could call him a poof and then just stand there, beckoning him with his hands and saying, "Come on then, you fat old Nazi." And by the way, I could have Brian Walden. I could.
John Major has already led the way by introducing the hard EQ. Demonstrating that when it comes to intergovernmental currency negotiations, he doesn't run from no one. He was also demonstrating his hardness by not having any women in his first cabinet.
All right, gentlemen, this is the first all-male cabinet meeting for 11.5 years, but I don't want the absence of women to affect our procedure in any way. So now let's get on with the first item on the agenda. Who can piss the highest?
Are the other European leaders, however, as soft as they look? Our political pundits are working now to find out.
So, Jacques Delors, I put it to you that if John Major were to come up to you and say, "You specky French twat, I suppose you like Sacha Distel. For, did you just breed out or did we move into a garlic factory?" If John Major were to say these things to you, you might, and I'm not saying you would, cackalaise pants. And by the way, I'd just like to say to John Cal, anytime.
The first anxiety with having workmen in is not knowing what they're talking about.
Well, it's your crap it valve, isn't it? So your divot diameter's 6mm, that's caused over-bubbling in your expansion tank, your boiler beveling's amortised, and the whole system's gone into underdrive.
I see, and that's why you can't fix the blind.
The second problem is that they can't just mend what they've come to mend.
Oh, well, I mean, I could fix it, obviously, but I have to rewire the old place, knock that wall down, take the roof off, demolish that block of flats over there, reverse all the human rights legislation passed since 1945, and trace the surviving members of the New Seekers.
Well, I only asked if you could pull your trousers up over your arse.
Pornography suggests that plumbers are always getting their end away in private houses, but this can only be based on an unrealistic conception of plumbers. I mean, really, the average plumber story in Men Only should go like this.
Imagine my surprise when the plumber arrived. He was the ugliest man I'd ever seen.
And, like, they have to tell you that everything else in your house is also broken or rubbish.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Who put that fuse box there? You see, that'll never do, and that joist, that's all wrong, we'll never take the weight. What else? Oh, your stereo's crap. Yeah, and your wife. Your wife's a bit of a dog. You know that photograph of your mother on the mantelpiece? She looks a right whore. Yeah. Basically, your whole life's rubbish. That'll be 200 quid.
The other problem is what to say to the workman, because like, you get filled with a liberal terror that at any moment he's going to start talking about women or the blacks, and you'll have to agree with him, partly because to bring him out of these attitudes would take years of like training and debriefing and re-education, and partly because you're frightened that otherwise he might beat you up. And sometimes you might even try to preempt him.
I notice you've got some West Indians living next door.
Yes. Jungle bunnies, eh? Darkies, singing and dancing all night. All look the same to me.
My wife's a West Indian.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, will you please welcome, live in the Mary Whitehouse Experience studio, the Pet Shop Boys.
Neil, do you want to do the keyboards for a bit? Only I thought I might sing next verse. Neil, do you want to take over back here for a moment and I'll come up to the mic, you know, at the front? Look, I'm telling you, Neil, if you don't turn around, I'm going to have to put on my grumpy face. Neil, you left this in the dressing room. I mean, I bought you this for Christmas, and like you haven't worn it once. I mean, I was talking to the ugly one in Tears for Fears, and he gets to sing a bit, you know, Mad World, that was him. Neil, and why don't you invite me round anymore? I said I was sorry about the toilets. Also, in the next video, I want to wear the flash suit, and you can wear the nutty Noah Southwestern. All right. Look, I'm warning you, if you don't let me sing, I'm going to turn this machine off. Right. Oh, sod it.
Hello, children. Hello, children. I'm the narrator of the pantomime. And when I come on, I want you all to run around the aisles and not listen. And as ever, the rest of the cast is made up of sub-celebrities from the Wide Awake Club, Tucker's Luck, and other TV programmes that nobody watches. Oh, who's this then?
Good evening, and tonight on the South Bank Show, we're looking at the pantomime in its full socio-economic and historical context. Boys and girls. Many of the great names of the theatre have started their careers in panto. Inside this pantomime cow are John Gielgud and Laurence Olivier. Already their superior talents were becoming obvious. Similarly, here in his debut role in the 1973 Congress Theatre Eastbourne production of Jack and the Beanstalk is Robert De Niro.
You what? You what? You swap my cow for some beans? You swapped my cow for some beans? You screwed my wife? You sold my cow for some beans? I can't believe this. I swear to God, I'm going to shoot you. Oh, yes, I am. Beans,
Up the beanstalk went, higher and higher, until it looked like this stepladder we covered in green crepe paper. And at the top, Jack was to meet the giant.
Jockey, you require 45.
Fee, fi, fo, fum, I smell.
Pantomime is a form known all over the world. In the Soviet Union, it remains as popular as ever, as we can see from this Moscow production of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Snow White. Боже мой, а киба она дошкала, она тоже бомона, нишка стороной шикарная.
No, Ichio. Otayo is Politburo.
Then, of course, there's Cinderella. In that one, she has to leave the ball at midnight because otherwise her carriage turns into a pumpkin. On the scale of excuses to get away from someone at a party, that one's right up there with, I've just left my drink in the kitchen. Then, of course, Prince Charming is desperate to find her again. The only clue he has is that she was the girl dancing in the glass slippers. How can he ever trace her?
So, Crime Stoppers would like to hear from you. If, like me, you like wearing tights in public.
So, where, oh where, is our Cinders? Well, she's where anyone who has been dancing in glass slippers is likely to end up, in the intensive care unit of the local hospital.
Mr. Charming, I'm afraid that Miss Cinderella has suffered severe lacerations to both feet and massive loss of blood. She may never dance again. Do you want to buy a rag, Meg?
Picture this. In a studio somewhere far, far away.
You bugger.
Picture this. Picture this.
The Mary Whitehouse Experience. Right, so the latest news from the Gulf, as you may be aware, is that journalists are going to be sent home if they can't run a mile in less than 14 minutes. So it looks like the Daily Star will be losing their new war correspondent, Steve Cram. Which brings us to...
Sport is two experiences, like experience of it on TV and experience of it when you try to do it yourself, and the boundaries between the two are rarely breached.
And the crowd here at this Winter Olympics are hushed in waiting for the freestyle routine of the Russian figure skating champion Andrei Serenko to begin. Serenko needs an average 9.9 to take the gold. Serenko has begun by holding onto the barrier around the edge and wobbling. He's got about 3 feet round, and oh, look at that, he's fallen over. Now up he gets, no, down he goes, and he'll lose marks there for dropping his slush puppy. And now, yes, there it is, the bitter glance as a 7-year-old goes past, doing it really well.
Other sports, conversely, appear much more complex than they actually are. Sumo wrestling, for example, is meant to be this really technical and ritualistic sport, but surely it's just two blokes too fat to fight properly. You know, like the fat kids used to at school.
And welcome to Tokyo for the Sacred Dragon Sumo Challenge Final. The finalists are on the right, Pogo Patterson from Grange Hill, and on the left, Tank from the Walker's Crisps advert. And straight away, Tank's closed in with an oi shoko. This involves shutting the eyes and flapping the arms about wildly with no idea of your opponent's whereabouts. And there's the bell for the end of dinner break.
Other sports, however, have no connection at all with the real world. Walking, for example. I mean, don't professional walkers look back at the height of their careers and think, oh, I've trained really hard to look like a tosspot? I mean, a marathon walk is basically a 20-kilometre mince.
After all, what is the point? Because there is no situation where you'd have to move that fast where it wouldn't be better to run. Unless you're walking that way that you do when there are some hard lads behind you. And you start to walk past but think, I'd better not run, because then they'll know I'm not hard. But once you get behind that corner, I'll leg it. But in fact, you're digging your own grave, because by now, from the back, you're doing an impression of John Inman.
The only other sporting event that involves stupid walking is the equestrian dressage. In this, the rider gets the horse to walk sideways. This he achieves by hitting it on the side of the head with a hammer. Horses have a terrible deal in sport. I mean, for a start, they are just shot at the drop of a hat. For a broken leg, that seems a bit rough. Why can't they just have, like, a splint and some plaster and, like, maybe a nice sit-down for the rest of the race? It's like with horses, all veterinary decency seems to break down.
Sorry to call you out, Mr. Harriet. Only Bessie here has got a stone caught in her hoof.
Oh, not to worry. We'll soon have that sorted out.
Oh.
Anything else?
Well, Dobbin's been off his food lately. No, the others are all fine.
Hello.
Good Lord. It's the Queen. How can I help you, Mum?
Here's my daughter.
This kind of cruelty to horses only persists because the government refuses to legalise dog fighting. And we, at the Mary Whitehouse Experience, not only believe that dog fighting should be legalised, we think it should be televised instead of crufts. You see that programme, Watch Dog, that they have? That's not actually a dog fighting programme. I've watched that show for 3 years now, and I haven't seen a single pregnant pit bull with his eye hanging out.
Hello. In today's Watchdog, we investigate the bicycle safety helmets that just aren't that safe, and electric blankets that could turn your home into a blaze. But first, it's over live to the back of a disused warehouse in Leicester for Red Fang versus Ripping Boy Rex. Your commentator is Harry Carpenter.
Good evening. There's a big purse for tonight's fight. The winner gets some extra win-a-lot, and the loser gets thrown into the canal. With me for the ringside commentary is Scooby-Doo.
Well, Red Fang looked very confident at the weigh-in, despite the fact that in his last fight he got his penis bitten off.
The only other sport we'd like to see more of on TV is wrestling. If nothing else, this would bring giant haystacks back to our screens. A man named after that most terrifying of things, a haystack.
The government anti-drug slogan at the moment is drugs, the effects could last forever. Surely it should be drugs, the effects could last forever if you're lucky. It's like a Duracell advert. No ordinary sulfate looks like it or lasts like it.
Another government slogan is, don't share your partner's works. What are works? Surely the government have just made up this word because it sounds sort of streetwise. And now there are, like, loads of heroin addicts who still share dirty needles but, like, adamantly refuse to lend out their copies of the complete Shakespeare.
Heroin is seen as the #1 evil drug, but though psychologically traumatic, right, some doctors contend that coming off heroin is the physical equivalent of a bad case of flu. But then this wouldn't be so dramatic in those bleak adverts with a tormented 15-year-old kid.
Heroin. I can handle it. It's just masturbating 14 times a day that's the problem.
And if it is like flu, in the next series of adverts, your mum would simply have to write a letter to school.
Dear Mr. Avery, Stephen has spent the last 2 weeks off withdrawing from drug abuse. But don't forget how we won the 100 metres in 4.5 seconds.
Also, why is withdrawal from drugs called cold turkey? Is it something to do with Bernard Matthews?
But we must, of course, come out against drugs, because I, for one, would never want anyone watching to find themselves in a casualty ward late one night, having to look a doctor in the eye and say, "But we're her friends."
Presumably, as well, this woman has been going round at the party she's just been at, asking if anybody's got any drugs. Or any quack.
Drugs? Quack? Nah, sorry, love, I think you've had enough. Perhaps we can get you an interpreter.
All right, well, hello, Anna. All right. All right, thank you. Back after this break.
Meanwhile, one has to consider how much of a friend this woman really is. because not only does she allow her friend to overdose, she is quite willing to entrust her medically to the hitchhiker from Burt Lancaster's Foster's advert. So what she should be saying is, hold on, you don't even know what an ulcer is and you're operating on my friend.
Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds shows the creative magic of acid-induced lyrics in lines like, newspaper taxis appear on the shore. Like, wow, what was going on there, man?
Oh, no, mate, I'm not going south of the river in this weather. No, the motor will get all smudged and turn into papier-mâché. It's commonly held that the fastest driver in Britain is Nigel Mansell. Wrong. It's Princess Anne. Seen here, leaving Heston services on the M4. Mark Phillips, Viscount Linley and Princess Diana have all been stopped for driving too fast. Now, presumably, if they lose their licences, the royals have to travel by taxi.
One should hang a left here and burn up this Capri at the next lights.
British motorways have a reputation for being the best in Britain. Fortunately, the government have made lots of government information films about safe driving, which get shown at 1 in the morning and cover such fascinating subjects as checking your mirror, watching out for that child, and the dangers of overtaking on motorways.
Now, all these films have one thing in common. They were all made in the 1960s and have never been updated. So all the men have Engelbert Humperdinck sideburns and wear tank tops. All policemen ride bicycles, and everybody drives the Austin 1100.
The greatest road safety campaign ever was the one for the Green Cross Code, which was immensely confusing for children. 1 minute they'd be watching one government information film which was telling them,
don't talk to strangers.
And the next minute they'd be watching another government information film in which two kids were happily chatting away to a tall, muscular man in green tights. Offering to help them home from school.
According to insurance companies, the most high-risk drivers are young men under 25. Rubbish. Anyone who has ever driven will know that the most dangerous drivers are pensioners. It doesn't matter where he is, a granddad always drives the same way.
And here at Silverstone, Prost is still trying to overtake Senna, but as they come up to the bend, who's this blocking them in front? It's Grandad. He's refusing to get out of the way. Senna makes his move, but Grandad's changing lanes without signalling. So let's check the lap times, and in the Constructors' Championship, McLaren lead with Ferrari second and third, Austin 1100.
People do tend to do rubbish things when they're driving. Like if you're on the motorway and you're running low on petrol, and you see a sign saying,
services 1 mile and 32 miles.
People always say,
I think we can make it to the second one.
Why? Because they enjoy making a mental note of where the emergency telephones are? This, of course, brings us to garages. Now, garages nowadays sell just about everything you could possibly want. For example, I bought this digital watch at a garage. And it's fine, except that every time I put petrol in my car, the numbers start going round really fast.
Now, for some reason, garages always sell charcoal briquettes, plant pots, and bags of fertiliser. As if the owner was going to open a garden centre, but at the last minute changed it to a petrol station. Now, what all this merchandise means is that if you go into a garage with friends, you'll be in there for at least half an hour.
Right, let's get some petrol. Oh, Hugh, can you get me a bounty?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, can I have a bounty?
Yeah, 2 bounties.
Actually,
then,
no, I'd rather have Maltesers.
Okay, Maltesers and a bounty.
If they haven't got any Maltesers, I'll have minstrels, but not M&M's.
Okay.
Oh, and an orange juice.
Right, okay.
Oh, and can you see if they've got any milk?
Yep.
Hugh?
Yes?
Can I have a bag of fertiliser and some charcoal briquettes? Most people will also put off getting their car fixed until the original insignificant rattle has become a major mechanical breakdown. And there is no other mode of transport in which people are allowed to behave in this way.
This is Captain Harmsworth speaking. I'd just like to remind all passengers to not panic about the clouds of black smoke which are pouring out of the port engine. It's been doing that for weeks, hasn't it?
Yes, it has,
It's fixed, really, yes. I mean, we've had this plane, what, 3 years now?
3 years
We've had terrible trouble with it, terrible. It won't start in the mornings. We've had 2 new gearboxes
New starter motor, this one from an Austin 1100. Oh,
shit, look, we're going to blow up.
No, that temperature gauge is terrible. Just give it a thump. There you are. Oh, we are running low on fuel. We can refuel at Athens or Jakarta.
Oh, I think we can make it to Jakarta.
The White Lion pub in Romford, Essex. Recently, this pub acquired new owners who spent a lot of time and effort doing it up, with the result that it became a very pleasant place to go to for a Sunday lunchtime drink. All of which makes what happened last Sunday night even more sad. I was barred.
Tonight we ask, is the British economy in recession?
Yes.
Thank you. Tonight we ask, is the British economy in recession?
Will recession lead to depression? Does stagnation produce inflation? Will depressive recession produce stagflation? Will inflationary recessive depression induce a reflationary situation? And how did Norman Lamont manage to nick Dennis Healy's eyebrows? Why are interest rates so high? Some people blame the EMS.
You're unbelievable.
No, EMS.
Opinions differ on the likely long-term effects of the recession. Asked whether it was caused lasting damage to the food industry, spokesman for Bird's Eye and General Foods said no, while the man from Del Monte, he say, yesterday's figures suggest that volume sales of fruit juice concentrate are holding up well against seasonal forecasts. However, at the moment, indications are that we are seeing a rerun of the situation in 1981. This will mean that we are likely to see a steep rise in jobless figures, and worst of all, we will see Duran Duran wearing those rather horrid frilly shirts.
In the housing market, however, the effects of ever-worsening recession are already obvious. While lack of available cash has also affected this year's sales. Normally, shoppers queue outside department stores in order to secure bargains. This year, however, the managers of department stores are queuing outside number 18 Haverstock Terrace in Pinner on the rumour that Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins have a couple of quid they're thinking of spending.
But how can the householder combat inflation? Well, in his last budget, John Major acknowledged the problem by announcing a new savings plan, Tessa, or the economy's severely shite, actually. Retailers, too, are fighting back.
Most affected by the downturn in consumer spending are those stores that have a sale on all year round anyway. In an attempt to gain custom, one such chain has already adopted a radically new and different approach.
Yes, it's full price week at Allied Carpets.
The really hard person says, do you want to fight, in 1,000 different ways. The important thing to remember is that the cue to fight need not fit in at all with the situation.
Number 1, in an Orthodox Muslim country.
Phew, it is hot.
Yeah. Did you spill my pint?
Number 2, at a meeting with Prince Charles.
Prince Charles, I can't agree with your views on architecture.
Are you saying my mother does it for money?
Number 3, at a Stevie Wonder concert.
Oi, are you looking at me? Hard people have certain accoutrements to go with their hardness. And if you have one of these but are not hard, you can get into trouble. For example, if you have the wrong sort of haircut.
Oi, mate!
Skinhead! Skinhead!
Oh dear, must be more windy than I thought. Now, what are you going to sing for us?
Of course, hardness in males is not confined to human beings.
And the extraordinary thing about conflicts like this between two male moose is that they will involve the communication of very definite messages. That snort there, for example, means very specifically, are you calling me a puff? And that tilt of the head in response translates as, yeah, I am. Sorry, I didn't quite catch the name. John Inman, isn't it? It is, of course, the male with the biggest antlers who is assumed to be the most sexually successful male within the community.
The primary feature of the hard person is that he does not run from not nobody. Of course, this means the British, although crap at sport, are always foremost in hardness.
And here at the Olympic Games 100 metres finals, the contestants are on their starting blocks and they're off. Every single one of them except for the British contestant. You can't see him, but he's standing still and shouting, "Come back, you shitters." What a marvellous performance, demonstrating to the watching world that the British do not lose their model just because someone's got a pistol. And now over to the fencing, where the British fencer is not wearing a mask or using a sword, and certainly not putting his hand on his hip.
Of course, male relationships...
And I've just heard that the British pole vaulter has asked for the crash mat to be removed.
Of course, male relationships...
Oh, and I've just heard that the British entry in the diving has bashed his head on the diving board as part of his freestyle routine.
Of course, male relationships in the culture of violence have been warped by all this business. The spectre of who is the hardest can poison even the closest friendship.
And now we've just got time for some late news. I can have Ronnie Barker. Did you hear that, Barker? I'm calling you a butler. What are you going to do about it?
And it's good night from him.
At the moment, this is all having a global impact because the reason that most people here are happy to see our troops setting up for war is that despite the fact that Iraq has the 4th largest army in the world and has killed millions of people in the last 10 years, they still have a sneaky feeling that your Arab is basically not that hard. You know, because, like, they wear slip-ons, don't they?
Britain, meanwhile, has sent out the SAS. This is presumably due to all the mystique which surrounds SS, which is strange, really, because aren't they just sort of punctual Millwall fans? But these kind of misplaced Western assumptions about Iraqi hardness will not affect actual military planning in the Gulf.
OK, men, here's the plan for Operation Desert Rat on January the 15th. The Royal Fusiliers will assemble here at 0800 hours, face the Iraqi line and shout, "Come on and have a go if you think you're hard enough." Yes, our men will then put on gas masks as at this point the Iraqis will, according to intelligence, cack their pants.
The future of the nuclear family is said to be in grave danger, and they really ought to try and move away from Sellafield. That's enough satire. Let's talk about dads, or to be precise, other people's dads. At least one person at school always had a really embarrassing dad who was never aware that he was being embarrassing. When you went round to their house to watch Top of the Pops, he'd come in and say,
"Hey, what's this? It's got a good beat."
and then start dancing in that way that only your parents can dance. Like the dummy from the Volvo advert in a cardigan. Embarrassing dads also say things like,
"Still got your eye on that Susan what's-her-name, Steve? Don't do anything I wouldn't do."
There is, however, very little he wouldn't do, judging by the expression on his face during the 5th-year gym display at the last parents' evening.
Then there's mums. Mothers feel an overwhelming desire to guide you down the right path. Whatever you do, your mother has always done it as well and will always say,
"I don't want you to make the same mistake I made."
Which left me wondering how on earth my mother had got her head kicked in for nicking Martin Nichols' bicycle pump.
I myself have a classic Jewish mother. My mother is the sort of woman who, if I fell into a river, would shout, "Help! Come quick, my son, the university graduate, is drowning!"
Conventional morality still frowns on one-parent families, but they are commonplace in nature, notably in the case of the black widow spider. In this species, as you may know, the male gets eaten by the female the moment they finish mating. Male black widow spiders have the lowest incidence of premature ejaculation in the world.
Oh, no! Can't we just talk for a bit? I'll tell you what, I'll go make a cup of tea. Do you fancy going to see arachnophobia?
Most of the TV role models for family life are curiously coy. The Waltons, for example. Why did Ma and Pa Walton spend so long saying goodnight to all their kids, one by one, every night? The answer is they wanted to make sure that none of them were doing what teenagers do when they're on their own in their bedroom at night.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Ma.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Pa.
Good night, Mary Ellen.
Good night, Ma.
Good night, Mary Ellen.
Good night, Pa.
Good night, Jim Boy. John Boy.
Good night, Ma. Don't come in. The biggest nightmare in family life is that as you get older, you find yourself turning into your parents. The one thing you wanted more than anything else to avoid. You know the nightmare is coming true when you catch yourself saying things like,
You won't be so keen on voting Labour when you start paying tax.
or,
That's my chair.
And then, of course, there comes the day when you turn on Top of the Pops and say,
Who's that?
Or even worse,
Hey, what's this? It's got a good beat.
Saturday afternoon, 3 p.m. A Securicorps van-style Securicorps van leaves the NatWest Bank on the Edgware Road carrying £250,000 in gold bullion. It then turns left into a narrow side street away from the traffic as it does every week. So I need a driver, 2 men to take up the guards, and it should be an easy job.
At the present time, as some of you may be aware, it is extremely hip to wear flared trousers. This practice emerged in Manchester, which is why they lost their bid to host the 1996 Olympics. The Olympic Committee said it would cost too much to widen the running lanes, and they wouldn't be able to tell if the marathon walkers were actually running.
Flares rank as one of global history's worst fashion mistakes, which we've now had to live through twice. But then again, there have been many other dark ages of dress sense.
Master shopkeeper, give me without more ado some crisscross garters, a goodly pair of thigh-high leather boots, and a velveteen cape, if you please.
Sorry, mate, you want Miss Selfridge. Round the corner and down Pudding Lane.
Right you are.
One of the most embarrassing garments to buy at this time would have had to have been the codpiece. The trauma of buying one must have been similar to buying your first bra or condom.
Good day, Master Shopkeeper. I'd like some leeches, a potato, one of those Are You a Witch home predictor kits, and copies, please.
Certainly, sir. Which size wouldst thou prefer? Small, medium, large, or obviously not true?
Large, please.
It looketh somewhat roomy.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Hast thou bought it to dance a madrigal with the Countess Olivier by Chiswick Water?
No, I'm going to release a single called Word Up.
Elizabethan fashion was a reaction against the austere styles of the Middle Ages, where design was a bit medieval.
Well, Mad Meg of Blackwater is wearing a torn sack covered in manure and flaky bits from her scabies. Her footwear is very cleverly designed, so you can't tell which is her rotting foot and which is her rotting shoe. Meg's previous modelling work includes the gargoyles at Chartres Cathedral and, of course, Readers' Wives.
Possibly the greatest period for male fashion was the Roman era, where men got to wear pleated miniskirts and still pull Italian women. Men also sported cloaks, and over the top of the head, they had a big brush, which would suggest that Mark Antony spoke something like this.
Boom, boom!
Picture this. In a studio somewhere far, far away. Picture this. Picture this.
Whitehouse Experience. This week, the question on everyone's lips is, of course, why does Robert Smith of The Cure always get Stevie Wonder to put his lipstick on?
Britain's schools are seldom out of the news. Only last week, a new report showed a sharp decline in the standard of Reading. This may be connected to the alarming shortage of teachers, who are so badly paid that large numbers of them are leaving to go into better paid professions, such as nursing or doing a paper round. Maths teachers are in particularly short supply. This is because they are able to work out exactly how poor they're going to be. Small wonder that in recent years we have seen the increasing threat of an all-out strike by teachers.
What do we want? 12%! How do we get it?
We divide the whole sum by 100 and multiply by 12 to give the percentage. Now get on with exercise 4 on page 130.
The situation is getting worse. The government's idea of a teacher's shortage is when the House of Commons bar runs out of whiskey. The media also traditionally finds teachers difficult to deal with.
Here at the National Conference, I have with me Giles Garrett from the NUT. So, Mr. Garrett, have you and your colleagues definitely decided to go on strike, or do you hold out hopes of arbitration?
Is the cameraman chewing? Are you chewing? Well, someone is. Right, come on, or the entire camera crew will stay here. I've got plenty of time.
One thing I've noticed about teachers is that they've always got names like Mr. Pratt or Miss Shufflebottom, right? And this is because they're the kind of people who think, oh yeah, I'll go into teaching. There's a profession in which my name will escape ridicule. Worse still, there's always one chummy teacher who thinks he knows what his nickname is and will talk about it to your dad at a parent-teacher association function.
Well, my name's Morse, so they call me Inspector. Could be worse, I suppose.
Oh, I see. It must be some other Morse my son calls Mr. Embryo Head, then.
There was also always one teacher you were a bit scared of, although you never knew quite why.
I'm afraid Hutchinson has not done his homework. What a pity. We do not tolerate failure in this organisation.
Kenneth Clark there. At school, the most important thing, though, is the rules, and even minor misdemeanours are always treated very seriously.
Tonight we begin with a highly dangerous crime which has shown an alarming increase in recent weeks. The scene, the corridor outside the staff room. Last Thursday morning, on their way to French, 2 third-years were spotted running. Our hidden surveillance cameras also spotted this boy graffitiing the word bollocks on the side of a fellow pupil's Adidas bag. He is also wanted on 2 counts of writing Mr. Hinchcliffe is a bender on the varsity benches and for failing to sew his name tag on the outside of his gym shorts. Here with me is Chief Superintendent Marsh of the Regional Crime Squad. This really is an alarming sequence of crimes, is it not?
Well, yes, indeed. This is very, very serious. We may, of course, be sitting on a time bomb. However, we are very heartened. We've had a number of calls in concerning the talking in assembly and the wearing of grey V-neck sweaters with a higher acrylic wool mix than is specified in regulations.
I understand you also have the treasure trove of confiscated school items to show us.
Yes, indeed. In the treasure trove this week, we have several pencil cases. Someone might recognise this distinctive ink blot down here at the bottom. A Super Ball, and this rather old and dog-eared copy of Mayfair. Oh no, that's mine.
Aside from academic work, you also get to do games. This means getting undressed in front of a lot of people of the same sex. And in the case of boys, this means having to cope with the fact that one of the other boys will be prodigiously developed. Not just for a young boy, but for a mammoth. Also, at my school, if you had forgotten your swimming kit, they made you do it in the nuddy. Now, honestly, school is supposed to be a preparation for life. Ron Pickering.
And a setback for Britain's Duncan Goodhue in the 100 metres butterfly final. He's forgotten his trunks. And the Olympic Federation have ruled that he's got to do it in the nutty.
Imagine if they extended this regulation.
There was uproar in the Commons today when Chancellor Norman Lamont arrived for his budget speech without his briefcase, so we had to do it in the nutty. The Speaker said it was the worst thing he'd ever seen in the House of Commons.
The school changing room atmosphere is something that some men carry on into later life. You see businessmen after squash talking with complete equanimity about business, as if they were both not in the nuddy. For some people, this is why a career in business is frankly impossible.
Well, Rob, great game, good shower. Now, I say we should go with Bolivian zinc. There's been a lot of movement on Wall Street, and it looks to me like the whole damn thing could be a winner. What do you say?
I can see your fishy. I can get right between my legs and do an impression of a girl.
I see. I can offer you a good job at Polly Peck.
Now, Essex police would like information concerning a particularly gruesome murder after the body of Mr. Armitage Stepaniak of Kentish Town was found in 2 black bin liners. His head had been cut off and a pigeon stuffed in his mouth. If you know anything at all about this murder, please phone the Crime Stoppers number and you could win a Community Action Trust reward. Which brings us to good news. This week's Community Action Trust Reward for information leading to the arrest of an East End gang boss goes to a Mr. Armitage Stepaniak of Kentish Town. Congratulations.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome the Happy Mondays?
Yippee, yippee, yay, yay, yeah. Don't you think I look like Peter Beardsley? Excuse me? What do I pay you for exactly?
And now, the embarrassment experience. Embarrassment is a modern condition of being. In history, it seems people were simply never embarrassed.
The Lord Nelson is hit. He lies, dying.
My lord, has England's greatest admiral one last request?
Kiss me, Hardy.
I'm sorry?
Kiss me, Hardy.
Well, I would, but I'm not really that way inclined. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've got nothing...
Oh, come on, Hardy, don't be so uptight. Just a little peck. Not a Frenchie. Oh, all right. Mouth open, but no tongue. It's my one arm, isn't it?
No.
I've seen you looking at that 2-armed fellow down in midships.
No, don't do
Go on, Hardy! Snog!
All right. The truth is, my heart is already given to another. And every night, I await their call across the waters.
My heart is...
Pugwash! Today, though, you're embarrassed just walking down the high street, particularly if you trip over the pavement. When people trip over, they always pretend they haven't. They sort of incorporate a hop, skip and jump into their walk for the rest of the day.
I don't know if this happens to you, right? Sometimes I'm just walking down the high street and you suddenly find yourself walking stride for stride, level with an old lady. So, you speed up so people won't think your best friend is someone who owns a tartan zip-up shopping trolley. But, she's sped up as well because she's frightened of you, so you both end up bombing neck and neck down the road at 30 miles an hour.
The modern meaning of the word, as in to feel uncomfortably self-conscious, was not present in the old word embarrass, which simply meant to hinder, as in the phrase to embarrass Napoleon's forces. But we may have got this wrong.
Sir, General, what news of Wellington and the English?
Mon Empereur, the English are currently in the field erecting their new weapon.
Aha, it does not frighten me. What is it? A giant catapult? A cannon?
No. It is a huge photo of you when you were 5 years old.
Oh no, not the one with me wearing the shirt with the huge collar.
Oui, mon Empereur. And the kipper tie.
Oh no, I look like the lead singer of Mud at Peter Sarsted's wedding reception.
Mon Empereur, the English are raising their flag.
Oh no, that is no flag. That is a pair of my own soiled underpants.
Oh no, what?
Yes,
The ones with do not disturb on the front.
Look, I can explain the skid marks. I was on horseback all the way from Moscow.
How will future generations of French people remember this day?
Well, it gets covered in 1974 by ABBA with the hit single Waterloo for Rapido.
What a tosser. We must never forget the very useful social function that tramps perform, sabotaging street theatre and making it entertaining. And the same with busking. No matter how well the busker sings Annie's song, the only thing which brings the crowds flocking is when the passing tramp, out of the goodness of his heart, joins in. In fact, this is such a guarantee of success, one wonders why John Denver didn't use a tramp on the original recording.
OK, cue John.
You fill up my senses like the night in a forest.
Cue Mad Jack McLafferty.
You have
But how does anyone become a tramp? They themselves are always saying, well, I had a bit of bad luck. But if I have a bit of bad luck, if, for example, I go to the newsagent and it's shut, I don't go straight over to the bin and think, oh, I wonder if there's some food in there, and then not go home for 27 years. But back to tramps and the arts. Tramps do occasionally perform solo. This is because the vagrancy laws class begging as a criminal offence, but not busking. So many tramps allow themselves a very loose definition of busking.
Cancer! Cider! I'll take you all on. I'll kill the copper and steerage on it.
And later on we'll be playing some more Bob Dylan. According to tramps, busking consists entirely of putting your cap on the floor. Then they'll shout, dance, have a brain hemorrhage, and expect to be paid for it. Some of them seem to think that having a bit of snot hanging out of your nose counts as performance art. This, I think, is why so many of them hang around the South Bank in London. They're hoping to be spotted and put on at the Royal Festival Hall.
Hello and welcome to the Royal Festival Hall for the premiere performance of this recently updated version of The Beggar's Opera. In Act 1, Mad Jack McLafferty comes on and shouts for a long time about how his hands are deadly weapons and don't you forget it. Until, in a moment of supreme irony, a member of the audience gets up to get an ice cream and he panics and runs away. Act 2 is taken up mainly with a long nap on top of his lifelong friend Jerry, who he met last week. During this time, Mad Jack breaks the record for the most fluid ounces of urine ever to emerge from a single trouser leg. There then follows a long soliloquy on the subject of the Germans. Although I can't be sure, it might have been about how his marriage broke up and someone called Norm didn't pay him. The central theme remains, however, consistent. His hands are deadly weapons, and don't you forget it. And then the grand finale. Isolde is dead, Tristan laments, and Mad Jack has a bit of snot hanging out of his nose. The British are traditionally not known for their cuisine, although this stereotype is no longer true, as was shown last year in the BBC series MasterChef. However, the message hasn't yet reached all sections of the population.
Hello, and welcome to the semi-final of Student MasterChef. And let's have a look at our three contestants' menus. Dave from Sheffield Poli is starting with toast, followed by a main course of toast and Marmite, and for dessert, toast and 3-year-old strawberry jam he found at the back of the larder. John from Brighton Poli has hors d'oeuvre of cornflakes with Sandibal 5 pints as he's run out of milk, followed by far too much chili con carne with badly burned rice, and to finish, that yoghurt he bought in Marseille while interrailing. Graham from Oxford has chosen to start with 10 pints of lager. Then pigeon breast marinated in pork with walnut and radicchio and a Provençal dressing, and finishing with a collection of sexist rugby songs and copious vomiting.
Eating out has apparently become more popular over the last 10 years, despite the fact that for those who don't eat out much, advertising seems to do its level best to try and confuse them.
Can I have the steak with chips?
I'd like that lobster that sings about what credit cards you take, please.
All advertising of food is a bit weird, because, like, the only slogan you've really got is food, eat it, or you die. This leads to all sorts of desperate image-making, like trying to make us think that Weetabix is a hard cereal, a thug in the breakfast bowl. Well, let's see just how hard a Weetabix really is. What a puff. Anyway, other countries have different attitudes towards food, and many British visitors are shocked when they realise that in France, it's quite common to find restaurants which specialise in horse meat.
Garçon, what do you recommend from this menu?
I recommend the pepper steak, trained by Gaston Leroux, owned by Anne-Marie Leclerc. The going is good to medium rare, chump chop, worth the risk at current prices, and of course T-bone, today's favourite.
How long is all this going to take to cook?
Chump chop ready at 10 to 1, T-bone at 5 to 1, and they're away and onto the grill, and it's chump chop on the left with sausages on the right, and as they come into the first turn, in goes the spatula, and chump chop has fallen, and that leaves sausages that have been in the fridge for 3 weeks, and they're off.
Italian food is very popular. You can always tell an Italian restaurant by the fact that there will be a picture of the 1982 Italian World Cup squad on the wall, and underneath the words Campione del Mondo, which is Italian for didn't win the last 2 times. Non-Italian pizza restaurants brings us to the question of the salad bar.
OK, sirs, if you'd like to help yourself to the salad bar, you'll find a selection of plastic trays half full of rather manky vegetables. And do note the skillful way in which the bits of sweet corn have managed to get into all of them. Then there's the choice of salad dressings. That's French, Thousand Island or blue cheese. That's the oily one, the one that looks like sick, and the one that looks like semen.
What about fish and chip shops? How do these traditional British institutions keep going in the face of increased competition?
Well, we take the very finest fresh cod, then we say this is far too expensive and put it back, buy a couple of old North Sea bus pass cases, dip them in 2 coats of Dulux vinyl emulsion and fry them for 4 hours in pure Castrol. Do you want a 5-year-old can of Fanta? You know, with the old logo.
It's very difficult to get it right with waiters. Some of them seem to specialise in making you feel totally inferior.
Yes, sir.
What do you recommend?
I recommend you try and look less poor, sir. Have you ever been to a harvester before?
Generally speaking, however, waiters do get a hard time, and none more so than the ones that work in Indian restaurants, where the customers always behave in the same way.
Yeah, to start, I want far too many poppadoms, and then a main course I'm too full to eat.
I'd like the vindaloo to show how hard I am.
I'd like to be the one who at some point says, you know, they never actually eat this sort of food in India.
Right, I'll be the one who orders fried chicken, chips and peas then.
And I want the vindaloo so hot that you all have to watch me sweating a lot on my upper lip, and then I can make a really unfunny joke about going to the toilet tomorrow morning.
You know, they never actually eat this sort of food in India.
Oh. Tonight, we examine the question which is on the lips of the nation. Why is the England cricket team so crap? I mean, it's supposed to be our national sport, the sound of leather against willow, or in England's case, the sound of willow against air. I mean, what is the cause of our cricketing demise? We had a hidden camera in the Australian dressing room just before the last game.
OK, we're going to slip swing on the backward short stump with a couple of early bouncers. Let's go, Australia! Go, Australia! Go, go, go!
Meanwhile, in the England dressing room...
Just run through it again. They throw the ball at me.
No, they bowl the ball at you.
No, you've lost me.
Like this.
All right, ready?
Meanwhile, in the commentary box, the job of the pundits is to resist the knee-jerk reaction of the press and public
and provide a more thoughtful and a more considered analysis.
And what a completely crap performance we have seen by England today. Let's run through the scores. Australia in their first innings scored 214 off the first over and went on to score 796 before declaring that England were crap at bowling. Then England went in. The opening pair, Gooch and Larkins, were both crap. Atherton came in, looked promising, and then was crap. Robin Smith came in, took a middle stump guard, looked fiercely determined, and then was crap. By this time, England were on 19 for 4. Australia then brought on 2 new bowlers, Madge from Neighbours, and a small koala bear called Timmy, both of whom wreaked havoc on the England batsmen. And so it went on. 2 England players went for a duck, another was bowled by a duck, and the rest just ran away in embarrassment. From now on, it's been announced that MCC will stand for massively crap cricketers.
My granddad actually died the other day on the occasion of his 92nd birthday. It was a great shame as we were only halfway through giving him the bumps. Now, although getting old is an unqualified disaster, TV is always trying to cosy it up with things like Dennis Norden's reflective, wry and astonishingly unfunny epithets on programmes like Looks Familiar.
You know you're getting old and your secretary asks you to play around and you say, I'll just get out my gun. Oh no, one of the contestants has just died.
In fact, looking familiar is the opposite of what actually happens to your body as it gets old. The only way to avoid the ageing process is to be one of the eternal heroes of fiction.
Oh, do pay attention, 007. Now, what you do with this device is you strap it in here, you pull back this little white lever, and the whole thing just takes off.
I shake you and watch it go out.
A Ronco stair lift.
The reality of ageing, in fact, is the one thing show business never confronts.
Ladies and gentlemen, Old Blue Eyes is old!
Start spreading the plastic sheeting. I'm coming to stay. If I can make it up the stairs, I might not piss in my pants. I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night and shout, nurse, nurse.
Not only old, but deaf.
Now, let me leave you with one final
Mr.
thought.
Norden, I've told you not to take this away from the foot of your bed. Death, of course, eventually comes to us all, but fortunately, most of us will avoid the indignity of having our obituary on the news.
And finally tonight, Tony McNockerty, the actor whose face became known to millions as Ron Scribble in the Wimsdale Diaries, has, as I'm sure you've all gathered by now, from the number of sub-clauses in this sentence, and the fact that my voice drops at the end of each of them, just before each comma on the auto-cue, died age 74. You knew it was coming. Why else would an actor's face pop up on the little screen behind me? And there's usually a graph or a picture of John Major. Our arts correspondent has been desperately rummaging around for some good clips.
Of course, the media have to be very careful how they treat bereavements, according to the deceased all official decorum. This is a bit of a shame, as the media ought to reflect the way the public tend to see things.
And finally tonight, Tony McNockerty, you know, that bloke who was What's It in Thingy, has snuffed it. Gosh, I didn't know he was still alive. Thought he'd pegged out years ago. Bet he left a tidy packet. I wonder what he died of. Well, these actors, you have to wonder. I suppose after the news, they'll be showing one of his old films instead of the snooker.
Martin Amis said, time goes about its immemorial work of making everyone look and feel like shit. And the proof of this is how unbearable it would be to imagine a reverse This Is Your Life, like before it's all happened to you.
Well, David, you're 13 years old now and you're happy?
Yes, very happy, thank you, Michael.
Well, when you're 43, you will hear this voice.
Mr. Baddiel, we've got the x-rays back and I'm afraid it's cancer.
But don't worry, because 2 years earlier, you receive a piece of sensational good news.
Mr. Baddiel, you're completely cured.
But it's not all gloom and despondency. No, there's love and romance, and it all begins on the day in 2 months' time, the day on which you lose your virginity.
Ah, Baddiel, just you in detention today.
Yes, it's your music teacher, and the only one that at the moment you like and trust, Mr. Clulo. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. Adopted as you were at the age of only 2 months, you finally discover on your deathbed exactly who your real father is.
Now let me leave you with one final
Top of the box with me, Gary Davies, and my eyebrows, which are shaped a bit like a crossword clue, one across. And if you've ever wondered what Gary's bit in the middle is, it's this bit here. That's the bit in the middle. And so it's time now for our first band, who are the other one from the Pet Shop Boys, the other one from Erasure, the fat bloke who used to be in Soft Cell, and that bloke with the funny moustache off of Sparks.
Isn't anybody going to sing then?
Well, I would, but I've got to keep my finger on this key.
Well, I would, but I think I've got a fax coming through.
No!
And what about him?
Who?
The bloke off of Sparks. No, maybe not. Oh, come on, somebody's got to do it. Go on, go on. Go on. That's pathetic. I could have done better than that.
Yeah, chin rub.
Oh, yeah.
Chin rub, you could.
You're useless, you are useless. Are you all right?
Are you warm enough? Do you need to go to the toilet?
He's never right in this world, is he? Hang on, I think I've got Moya Anderson's phone number somewhere. I've got an idea. Wait, just hold on a minute, all right? Finish that off. I've got it. Right, listen. I've got the lead man from a major band. He's going to come and front us, all right? So set yourselves up. It's going to be brilliant.
Picture this. In a studio somewhere far, far away.
You bugger.
Picture this. Picture this.
this country, the responsibility for law enforcement is, of course, vested in the police. The police were founded in Victorian times by Sir Robert Peel, hence their affectionate nickname, Pig Filth. If you want to join, standards are high. You need GCSE or equivalent in 5 subjects, including creative writing. A useful subject, especially when it comes to taking statements. A foreign language is also useful here, as it will help you with translation. For example, a phrase like,
I was at home with my wife at the time.
Might translate as,
I done it was me, you got me banged to rights and none mistake.
Once you are accepted into the police, training proper can begin, starting, of course, with the most vital areas.
Squat, patronise the motorist.
Hello, Alan Prost. Where's the fire?
On the right, ask the bleeding obvious question.
Is this your vehicle, sir?
In Britain, the friendly village bobby is also a stereotyped figure, inflexible and usually not very intelligent. This is plainly based on fact. If the police are so clever, why do they always need someone else to help them with their inquiries? If you do fall foul of the law, you'll be confronted by lawyers. Now, lawyers speak a language of their own, a language incomprehensible to laymen. For example, when they say,
you are hereby and hereinunder charged that you did both recklessly and wilfully contravene Section 3, 1 and 4, Section subsection 2 of the 1981 Amendment to the 1949 Act, hereby and hereinnder stated, pertaining to the intake of liquid substances deemed or stated to be of detrimental physiological and psychological effects on the mind and or body.
What they really mean is,
aren't you captain of Arsenal?
It is probable, however, that lawyers only speak incomprehensibly in order to relieve their own boredom. Let's face it, modern crime is dull. The highly sophisticated financial world of the 1990s has finally put paid to the old-style criminals.
OK, lads, here's the plan again. Bank opens 9:30. Eric, you take the doors, I'll hold up the cashier, all right?
What with?
Multiple share applications.
You said no more share applications, not after the British gas job went wrong.
We each buy 2,000 preferential shares and it's outside into the motor. We hold up until the price hits 150 and then we sell.
What if the Dow Jones drops and gilts fall against the dollar, causing a major downturn in futures and options?
Yeah. Then we just blow the safe and piss off.
Allegations of corporate crime, as the Polly Peck case shows, are massively on the increase. And the huge number of businessmen now in jail has led to complaints about conditions. In some places, it is claimed that there are as many as 5 prisoners to a cell phone.
In the past, successful criminals quickly moved into popular culture. There were men who were brutal, clever and stylish. Men like the Cray twins, Al Capone and Lester Piggott. Nowadays, however, what marks out many major criminals is the fact that they are dull enough to understand computers. Computer fraud is a huge growth area, hardly the stuff of romantic heroes.
Ah, Robin Hood, you have returned. Did you succeed in your struggle against the Sheriff of Nottingham?
Well, yes, I did, actually. Fortunately, the Sheriff is IBM compatible. So what I did was I hacked into the mainframe and altered his software to redirect his profits into my Poor People number 2 account.
They man will get no sleep tonight.
The sophistication of modern corporate crime is also a problem for juries. During the Guinness trial, for example, it was claimed that the evidence was far too complicated and intricate for the general public to understand. Well, that's rubbish. I mean, he definitely killed him.
Prison overcrowding... Prison overcrowding, however, has led some legal experts to demand reform of sentencing. At the moment, it appears that our prisons are full of men convicted of rather mundane crimes.
Night, Mr. McGuy. Dozy now. Your first day, was it, Godmom?
That's right, Fletch.
Oh, don't worry, you'll soon work out who to mix with and who to avoid.
Night, Fletch.
Who was that?
Oh, case in point, obviously. A dangerous felon. That is only a raw plug at Jackson.
What did he do?
Oh, you see, well, he used to work down Texas home care, see? And every night he would surreptitiously slip a raw plug into his overall pocket. At the end of 10 years, he'd stolen raw plugs to the value of £10.23. He got 15 years for that. Mind you, old raw plug, he's very popular with the screws.
Now,
Crime Stoppers would like you to take a close look at this photograph of Johnny Spanucci, head of the Chicago Mafia-style mafia. He is believed to have landed in Heathrow 2 days ago. So, I want girls, I want cocaine, and if he comes to your casino, keep him sweet. I recently joined Greenpeace because so I could get to watch the seal culling videos. Because they are brilliant, because the seals always have the same expression in their big brown eyes whenever they see the seal clubbers coming towards them. It's like, oh great, softball. Are we fielding? Oh, referee!
Then there's the destruction of the rainforests, whole civilizations being eradicated, and thousands of young tribesmen left to think, oh damn, and I was just about to get the large plate in my bottom lip as well. Yeah, I really wanted to be a chest of drawers. Some of the extended bottom lip look tribe have already left their past behind and found menial work in the West.
The Brazilian government is destroying my traditional way of life, milady.
Yes, Parker. By the way, we're missing a piece of crockery.
Of course, the destruction of communities by progress isn't restricted to faraway places. The new high-speed channel link is threatening to destroy Kent village life. Yeah, that's a real tragedy, isn't it? I mean, what will England be without all those endless days of incest and unreported strokes? Retards cricket and I'm on first name terms with the postman bollocks.
And now, a reading from Heathcote Williams' classic conservation poem, Sacred Elephant.
Oh, elephant, you're so chuffing brilliant. We're all just rubbish, but you're great, you are. I thought you were particularly good on Daktari. When you get all hot and you roll around in a mud to cool off, that's very clever, that is. And, of course, it was completely out of character what happened that time on Blue Peter. Thank you.
The big environmental problem, of course, is global warming. If it carries on, then soon we're going to have a new sign in swimming pools to go with no ducking, no diving, no petting and no pushing, no water. People will still pay £1.50, though, to get verrucas and roll around in a 9-year-old's turd. If global warming has the disastrous climatic effect that many scientists predict, people like Michael Fish are going to be too weak-looking to read the weather. We're going to need strong, reassuring, heroic figures.
Well, now, it's going to be a windy day, with snow and rain just edging into the Midlands, and even perhaps parts of Wales as the day progresses.
Well, there you are. And now, it's time for Top of the...
Did I say I was finished?
But we might have guessed that trouble was on the way. In recent years, certain BBC weathermen have even seemed too nervous to tell us the forecast.
Oh, well, things, wind and rain, oh dear.
I told you never to lie to me.
No, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, I did not think that last sketch was very right on at all. I did not like it. I mean, me, I come out with all this clever stuff about the multinationals and the third world debt and the responsibility of the banks. But don't you think all the time I'm going on and on and on, small penis. Well, that's been on. Good night.
Fun fairs have got to be taking the piss. The ghost train, for example. It's an extraordinary idea that the ghost train is meant to be as terrifying as other things in the horror genre.
They went on a ride they would never forget. First, they had to face the skeleton that was made of cardboard. It didn't quite pop out at the right time. The 5-year-olds in the seat in front screamed sarcastically. They were forced to confront dark questions, like what's supposed to be frightening about going through some double doors. And then, just when they thought it was all over, it was.
A common problem with fun fairs is getting confused by the caravans and going to the fun fair only to find out that it is in fact some gypsies. Still, you can always have a laugh.
Dad, I want to go on the pile of burnt mattresses.
Fun fairs are never fair, as we know from the Tenants LA advert where the bloke with the big nose discovers that the coconuts in the shy are glued down. Of course, that advert isn't that realistic, as in the real world, instead of getting away with the cuddly toy, the bloke with the big nose would have been taken around the back of the caravan generators and shot. They would have put one of those pellet rifles from the shoot the duck stall in his mouth and pulled the trigger, and it would have missed.
But like, they're all rip-offs, like the dart stall where you have to hit some playing cards. I mean, the rules of real darts are just dead simple, as otherwise Jockey Wilson wouldn't be able to play. But with funfair darts, no one can be expected to understand the rules.
Jockey, you require to hit the jack and then the 10 and then any selection of red cards minus the total you get from the first 2 darts. £180 you've spent on this stall without even winning an Elvis Presley mirror.
Still, what the funfairs do have to recommend them is the personnel, because, you know, the staffing is excellent. And it's good, you know, to warm glow you have inside thinking they haven't just employed anyone here.
So, you've applied for a job on the airborne rocket waltzer of death. I should remind you that in that position you'll be working with A, children, and B, highly specialised and extremely dangerous equipment. So the 2 things we do require of all our employers is A, a facial tattoo, and B, a criminal record.
This week's story comes from The Indie. For anyone who doesn't know, The Indie, produced by The Independent, is a newspaper for children. Rather like John Craver's Newsround, only without a tosspot and an Aran sweater. The trouble with John Craver's Newsround, of course, is that it doesn't have children in editorial control, which would be a good idea in political programmes generally. Because what I'd like to see is next time the Employment Secretary goes on television and gives us a rundown of the government employment figures, or next time the Health Secretary tells us how much they're spending on the NHS, I'd like the interviewer, David Dimbleby or whatever, to let them finish and then go, "Oh, Chinny Recon." "Oh, Jimmy Hill."
Now, The Indie, despite the age of its readership, is a paper which can often bring fresh and original insights into many of the major issues which face us today. The letters page in particular demonstrates the paper's maturity, with correspondents tackling such issues as racism, green politics, and this letter, which comes from the 2nd of January edition. This is an absolutely genuine letter, and amazingly, it was written by a 9-year-old.
Dear Indy, I am 9 years old, and I used to have a very nice girlfriend up until yesterday. My friends were jealous of me and started spreading rumours about me not being able to wipe my bottom after I go to the loo. They said I have to get the teachers to do it. She believed them and dumped me. Please can you help me? Yours sincerely, Captain Mark Phillips.
No, it wasn't from Mark Phillips. It was actually from a boy called Alex, who lives in Sussex. It was such a brilliant letter that I actually cut it out of The Indie. Now, what I'd like to say is that it's all very well to laugh, but one remembers how cruel school children can be. And so, Alex, we at the Mary Whitehouse Experience would therefore like to say on the television,
Alex got wipe his arse!
Dear BBC, I find this whole matter utterly puerile and not worthy of serious discussion, and so does my wife, or at least she would had she not left me 2 days ago following a spate of rumours suggesting that I can't wipe my bottom after I go to the loo.
We feel it is our public duty to warn you of a grievous malpractice that may be at the bottom of many of today's social ills. It appears that for some time now, there is a group of people who have been, I can hardly bring myself to say it, taking 2 bottles into the shower. Shampoo and conditioner.
I mean, who are these maniacs? I mean, it's just so stupid.
Okay, well, calm down, okay? Look, thank
I mean,
God.
it's unbelievably stupid.
There are other people, and I've seen them on the telly, who are at last beginning to speak out on this issue.
Shampoo and conditioner? Take 2 bottles into the shower? Not me. I'd just spend my time looking in other people's lockers.
And what I particularly like about the work of this pressure group is that their very tone of voice, absolutely filled with contempt and disbelief, expresses exactly how this shampoo and conditioner behaviour is on a par with the worst excesses of humanity.
shampoo and conditioner, take 2 bottles into the shower, get my mother to sleep with a donkey, exhume a recently buried corpse and smear its blood all over Mother Teresa's face. Not me. I just want to wash and go.
Why people can't realise the immense benefits of using wash and go is beyond me. I mean, think of the problems Janet Leigh alone could have avoided in Psycho. Wash and go as well is a really constructivist name for a product. That is, it's named off like what you do with it and what you do immediately afterwards. So like Eat and Go is the new designer name for all brand.
Of course, Wash and Go is made by Vidal Sassoon. And the thing about Vidal Sassoon is, with a name like that, he just had to become a hairdresser. I mean, like, what else could he have done?
He's back. He's angry. It's Vidal Sassoon.
But what I really think they should have is shampoo and conditioner, take 2 bottles into the shower. Not me, I'm Duncan Goodhue.
The economy is not in decline. Inflation will turn down by the end of next month, and the long-term prospects for economic growth are excellent.
Oh, chinny reckon. Scratch my beard, chin rub, Jimmy Hill.
The Bahamas, Florida, Turkey. Just some of the holiday destinations that I'm too frightened to fly to this year. Still, you can always watch the holiday programme instead. The trouble with that is that the reports bear no resemblance to most people's actual experience of holidays.
Hello, on this week's programme, Kathy Taylor gets pestered by a timeshare salesman. Eamon Holmes spends 2 weeks looking for somewhere that sells Diacalm, and Anne Gregg has her bag stolen. And then returns home to find that it's been 90 degrees in Britain for the last fortnight anyway. But first, for a report on skiing in the French Alps, it's over to the General Hospital Fracture Unit.
For some reason that no one understands, a large number of men use their annual holiday as an excuse to see what they would look like with a beard. Millions of them do this every year. They go away looking like the Partridge Family and come back looking like ZZ Top.
The only holiday on which beards are acceptable is a walking holiday. All walkers have beards. No one knows why. Maybe it provides extra storage space when their rucksack becomes full.
A survey last year showed that 40% of people who go abroad wouldn't bother to go if it wasn't for the weather. Now, this no longer matters since the arrival of Centre Parks, which is great for any family who want to spend a week in a conservatory outside Nuneaton.
There are many other reasons for not going abroad, not least of which is to avoid the kind of British people who go abroad, not the ones who go to Benidorm and eat chips. We are talking about the travel bores. These are the kind of people who don't go on holiday, they travel.
For a start, once they're back in Britain, travel bores will try and impress you by using local words and phrases they've picked up.
Hi, I tell you, it was absolutely fantastic because we were there during the festival of Hoke Na Hana Hosa. Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. It takes place every year on the second weekend after Halawada Hana Nosa, and you get given a slice of the traditional Baidada Hene Hosa, and you drink it with a large glass of the traditional Buke Nana Hosa.
You're a bit of a tosser.
Of course, travel bores will also tell you about their travels without any hint of exaggeration.
While I was in Afghanistan, I actually spent 2 weeks with the Mujahideen. Yeah, and disguised as a native herdsman.
I once changed planes at Kabul airport.
Oh, God. Right here, going out of Turkey, I was really bricking it at customs because I was smuggling so much stuff.
In my back pocket, I had a nearly full packet of Anadin.
I came face to face with one of the most dangerous snakes in the world.
In Sydney Zoo. There is, however, one phrase which is more hideous than any other.
I've got a few photos I must show you. Did I tell you I'd grown a beard?
And of course, common to the end of all holidays is the paranoia that everyone knows you've been away, and they're all thinking the same thing. Message for Mr. Baddiel, passenger recently arrived from Corfu. You're not very brown, are you?
The fortunes of football are now completely interlinked with that of TV. As a result, most people in the game are now brilliant communicators.
Well, I was very happy with the way the Ireland team played. Well, I was very happy with the whole team in the dressing room at half time. I was giving a stern talking to him for about 15 minutes. Ray Houghton stood up. He said, "Excuse me, Jack, I'd just like to say on behalf of the whole team here, we can't understand a word you're saying." I said, what do you mean you can't understand a word I'm saying? And he said, "Pardon?"
From the individual footballer's point of view, for example, the most important thing now is the post-match interview.
And joining me now on the touchline, just out of the showers, is Matthew Letitia.
Now, however, some footballers like Gary Lineker or Ruud Gullit are quite articulate and intelligent. I mean, if this carries on, soon the post-match interview will be ruined.
So, talk us through your first goal.
Well, Jim, as the ball came over, I realised this was no longer a ball anymore, but the ball. Fußball, in the sense that I think Wittgenstein might have used it. And from there on, my progress towards goal had an almost organic coherence, solipsistic, you might say, in its universality.
Thank you very much, Vinnie Jones. And now, back to the studio.
Well, really, there's no excuse for swearing or bad language in the game of professional football, even when, as today, the referee was clearly a...
Paul Gascoigne claims that he was not swearing when he was sent off in disgrace recently by the referee. He even brought in a lip reader to prove conclusively that what he was actually saying was, "The fog on the Tyne is all mine, all mine." The worry, of course, is that bad behaviour by the players may be aped on the terraces. I mean, the fans might start swearing.
Most TV commentators started their careers on radio, where, of course, precise description is everything.
Lineker Banane's right-hand ball upfield, back to Stevens. Square pass down crossfield, up back through to the defence to Beardsley. A long raking ball in the shape of a treble clef over to Reid, who's at 3:10 if you're approaching from the A437. Down the line to the gentle angle of Peterborough to London, according to the old GWR train route. And as the ball goes into touch round about the 3rd down and 10, if this was an American football field, there goes the whistle for the game to start.
The commentator's right-hand man is always the professional, in-the-game pundit.
And watching the match with me is Ron Atkinson. Ron, I think one criticism that can be levelled at this stage is you're a fat bastard who knows sod all about football. Trevor Brooking. For me, the actual result of the game is not as important as, honey. I've got 5 O-levels.
Oh, Jimmy Hill, I scratched my chin. I reckon you have as well.
One of the most famous voices in TV football is the bloke who reads out the final scores on Grandstand. How long have you been doing it?
Years in the business, 47. Grandstand itself, 25. Would you like a cup of tea?
No thanks. Can I ask you your opinion of John Inman?
I wouldn't say he's just the most effeminate man in the north, 'cause he's Queen of the South too.
In football, whenever a team from the south plays a team from the north, the southern fans always go,
"What's it like to lose your job?"
Just once, it would be wonderful if all the northern fans with one voice were to shout back,
"It's terrible! Your whole expectation of life diminishes and you lose your self-respect!"
There are many things in the world which are beyond the normal limits of understanding. Poltergeists, out-of-body experiences, why anyone watches The Word. There are many mythical creatures which some claim are real. Here in the Himalayas, many mountaineers claim to have spotted the abominable snowman. Although no one has yet answered the question, how can a snowman be abominable?
Yes, well, I think we should scale the north face of the mountain.
Good Lord, what is it? I don't know, but it's got a carrot for a nose and a manky old scarf on.
used to have a carrot for a nose, but some kids have taken it out and stuck it where its knob should be.
The abominable snowman is also known as the Yeti, a strange, hairy creature from another time. Some experts claim it may simply be a member of status quo who's got lost. Other such creatures include dragons, at one time fierce noble beasts, but now reduced to doing mouthwash commercials. And then, of course, there's the Loch Ness Monster. Many expeditions have sought to prove the existence of this fabled beast, this mysterious creature that lurks at the bottom of a 2-mile stretch of freezing cold water.
For Nessie? You're doomed. I saw her once. Many moons ago, I was walking by the log when suddenly, rising from the water, I saw a huge head. Eyes, fangs, long, scaly neck. At first, I was afraid. I was petrified, thinking I could never live without you by my side. And then I spent so many nights thinking how you'd done me wrong. I was wrong. How I had to get along, but now you're back.
Then, of course, there are the psychic phenomena.
From outer space. You're doomed.
So many people are interested in psychic phenomena that there is actually a newspaper for them, Psychic News. This is the only newspaper where everybody always gets the crossword right. We now move on to UFOs. One man obsessed with these was Eric von Daniken, who in his best-selling book, Chariots of the Gods, contended that originally a spaceship crash-landed on Earth needing repairs, which must have been great for the aliens.
Sorry, mate, there's no way I can fit you in this week. Come back towards the end of the next millennium. You're looking a bit peaky, Orville.
It would undoubtedly be brilliant if we ever did get visited by creatures from another planet, if only because we'd be able to see how the media would cover the event.
Here at Westminster, the atmosphere is electric. It's also 90% oxygen, which is very similar to planet Zorb. Several of the aliens came up to me in the corridor earlier and said, "We are the masters of the Earth. You puny humans are powerless against our highly advanced intelligence." But when I asked them how they would restructure the poll tax, they were stumped. There are also rumours that they have perfected a teleportation device capable of beaming matter across the universe. But this seems...
There have been so many sightings of UFOs that one is tempted to think that there might be something in it. But why do they just hover about and never make contact? The only plausible explanation is that the Earth is up for sale. And that intergalactic estate agents are showing people round.
Well, as you can see, it's got 5 oceans and 5 continents, 6 if you'd like to convert Antarctica, providing bright and spacious accommodation in this sought-after area of the solar system. Oh, one more thing. The heating system is broken.
Picture this in a studio somewhere far, far away.
You bugger.
Picture this. Picture this.
Right, now before we begin, right, we should say that this show has received a number of complaints, and without fail, these letters have come from ordinary, down-to-earth, middle-ground, rank-and-file people of this country, so clearly there's been some sort of misunderstanding, because what we'd like to say to these people is, this programme is not for you. All right?
But you see, our audience is... Well, look, let me show you. You, sir, what's your job?
I'm a neurosurgeon.
You see, a neurosurgeon, 15 years old, a neurosurgeon. And you, madam, what do you do?
I'm a nuclear physicist.
Nuclear physicist, not a good reader, nuclear physicist, genius, absolute genius. And you, sir?
I'm a male prostitute.
He works for MI5.
Well, sorry, I have to cut in here, Rob, because we're delighted to say that here, tonight, in the front row, is the conductor of the New York Philharmonic, Sir George Solti. Sir George.
Etiquette is codes of behaviour designed by the ruling class to try and make everyone else feel inferior.
Mr. Andrew Spandlow has announced his resignation from the cabinet after a leaked memo showed that he had used the wrong fork at a dinner party. One of his outraged parliamentary colleagues said later, if only he'd stuck to humping his mistress.
One wonders, in fact, how far you have to go before these codes of etiquette break down.
We've got no food left.
There's no sign of civilization.
We've got no choice. We're going to have to eat Jeremy.
Disgusting, inhuman animals. We can't eat Jeremy.
We have to.
But he's red meat and we've only got white wine.
Food etiquette is always the worst. Like, for example, you are supposed to spoon soup away from you and not towards you. Now, why on earth would you want to push food away from your mouth? Unless it's a Pizzaland platter.
What is the point of a fish knife? Why is it better to eat fish with a thing like you buy at Texas Home Care to apply polyfiller with? This is the cutlery equivalent of Sarah Ferguson, popular with the upper classes and serving no useful purpose whatsoever.
Now, etiquette also demands that you buy a bottle when you go to a party. Now, obviously, you're going to go for the highest quality you can get. Happy Shopper Polish Liebfraumilch. Now, this is obviously not going to get opened at the party, enabling the host to keep it and use it to take to another party a couple of weeks later. There are, in fact, certain bottles of wine which get taken on an endless round of parties, never being opened until eventually it turns into a valuable vintage and you can flog it to Sotheby's.
Much etiquette is associated with royalty. For example, you're not allowed to turn your back on the Queen, presumably in case she nicks something. You have to walk away from the Queen backwards. This explains why all her sons are going bald. They keep smashing the backs of their heads against the door on the way out.
I've got no idea of the done thing at all. I never find out till later. It's like, what, you mean you don't do that? You don't tip your girlfriend?
The etiquette of clothing is very strong. People mark great moments in their lives by wearing clothes that they would never normally wear. Brides, for example, are forced to spend their wedding day wearing a full-length triangular dress and a veil. So they come down the aisle looking like a cross between a beekeeper and an albino Dalek.
Now, cast your mind back last Friday night, Leicester Square. Did you see a man aged around 50 with his pants on his head, waving a penis-style penis indiscriminately at passers-by? Oh, you did?
Hello and welcome to Blockbusters. I'm Bob Holness. The first letter on the board is flashing, so fingers on the buzzers. What C am I?
The game show represents the ultimate fetishization of the commodity, displayed most obviously in Sale of the Century and The Price is Right, but not so obviously in Bullseye, which displays only the ultimate fetishization of one particular luxury 3-star caravan. This is the only prize on Bullseye, and no one ever wins it. If they did, they'd have to scrap the series. This in itself is part of an overwhelming sadness that pervades Bullseye.
OK, smashing, OK. Jeff, you're our first contestant, and you've led an unmitigatedly crap life, haven't you?
That's right, Jim.
But there was one moment, wasn't there, when your sad and tawdry existence did for a brief second intersect with the life of someone quite famous.
No.
Smashing. OK. Well, we haven't got the best chromosomes, but we do have a laugh, don't we? OK, now you're captain of your local pub team, the Black Cross, so 120 to beat. Let's see how you do. Is it just me, or has it got very cold in here?
TV has, of course, seen intellectual game shows. These consider themselves a breed apart from the normal run of game shows, although they could be said to serve the same basic instinct.
I'm terribly sorry, I can't give you that. The correct answer is, of course, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Niels Bohr is close. He was closely involved with early research on the quantum. Now, Balliol College, Oxford, you're starting for 10. What C am I?
Channel 4's intellectual game show is Countdown, hosted by Richard Whiteley, a man who has shown it's not so much what you know as how crap you are. Mastermind is a fine programme, but it is, however, extremely dark in the studio.
And can we have our next contender, please? And your name is?
Hold on a minute, I can't find a chair. Where am I?
The questions on Mastermind are very hard, but the show on which they've gone too far with the level of difficulty is surely Catchphrase.
Hello there, and on tonight's Catchphrase, our two contestants are Albert Einstein and Martin Amis. Welcome along, boys. Watch the screen. Here's your first catchphrase. Any ideas? It's a tough one. Yes, Albert.
Is it banana? As in up in the garden, banana.
Oh, it's good. It's not right. Martin.
I thought it was going on as well. Many a mickle makes a muckle.
Oh, you're so close, Martin. But in fact, the correct answer is, of course, up the garden. Oh, I'm not sure myself now. Mr. Spock.
Affirmative, Roy. I have run the catchphrase through every known language and code system in the universe. And the logical answer is center. As in, I'm just off up the garden center. Have I won the mini-metro?
Mr. Spock, have you seen the command of my ship has been taken over by a baldy slaphead?
He's been gone nearly 9 hours. Okay, Mr. Manson, does he have any provisions? Any kindled mint cake?
We found him. He's lying at the bottom of a 500-foot well, but we're in radio contact.
Well, let me talk to him. Mr. Newman. In 1846, which parliamentarian repealed the tort law?
We cannot go much further without mentioning blind date. Blind date is Pillock's propaganda. It disseminates the idea that the more of a loud pillock you are, the more likely you are to mate successfully. I wonder what Charles Darwin would have made of this.
1842, Galapagos Islands. My most recent research leads me to conclude that the species of male turtle who have been most successful in propagating the line are those who habitually do a crap impression of Bruce Forsyth.
The first thing you notice about local papers is that they just can't compete with the nationals, no matter how hard they try.
In your fabulous Berkhamsted Echo this week, why I oppose the Ring Road widening scheme by Councillor Jeffries.
I'll tell you all about my planning objections, only in the Echo.
Plus 10 things you never knew about wheeled bin collection. Some horrible wedding photos. And the local minor celebrity, usually Bob Wellings, opens the School of Fate. And still only 30p, even though you get 6 copies pushed through your letterbox free and use them to line the dog basket.
The best thing about local papers is that when they report road accidents, which they always do, they're able to tell you where it happened in pinpoint detail.
Look, the junction of the High Street and Garmoyle Road. I always said that was a dangerous junction, ever since I kicked over the keep left sign.
It's far better to watch local TV. The local TV news programme invariably fascinates and engrosses the viewer.
Oh, look! There's my bus! On the telly!
Now, despite this, the government broadcasting bill wants to introduce community television, so it looks like TV will become more and more localised.
Good evening, and here is tonight's news from Somerton Avenue, Bracknell. The couple from number 14 have been arguing again. He may have walked out, we're not sure. The Pennington's cat has been run over by the bloke at number 12. Please find an ear in the bumper. Plus, the paperboy tells us about the funny man at number 16 and what he asked him to push through his letterbox.
The Broadcasting Bill also wants more TV channels for minorities. This has already happened in radio. For example, there's a radio station now which is devoted entirely to jazz. Will this mean a jazz TV station?
The news headlines from Jazz TV with Louise Armstrong.
Good evening. Here's the news. The economy done gone into recession. And now, the weather.
With light winds and scattered showers. Also, conditions for channel crossings very rough this morning, so everybody say, "Hurrah!"
I myself have always wanted to be a blues singer, but then I realised, you know, I haven't got a disability, because that's what you need to be a blues singer, like blind Lemon Pie. He was a real blues singer, and, you know, he was blind. That wasn't bad enough, he was also, of course, a lemon pie. Anyway, surely if jazz fans can have their own radio station, why not other minorities?
Hi, you're tuned to the morning phone-in here on Radio Pervert.
Radio Pervert.
And let's have our next caller. And now that's Tony from Edgware, isn't it?
That's right. I'm holding it now.
The saddest people in the world are those who use the phrase, "Don't mind me, I'm just mad." And you should meet my friend Julian, he's mad too. These people always have really sad jobs.
Hi, it's Gary Davies here, and it's total chaos on the bit in the middle. I'm just completely mad, off my jolly, so wild, which is why I look like an assistant manager at Burton's Menswear.
What a sad man. Well, if these people want to go around saying they're mad, they should be prepared to take the consequences.
So, Mr. Davis, why don't you tell me all about Willie on the Plonker?
No, you don't understand. It was meant to be funny.
Of course it was. I recommend electric shock treatment to the genitals.
We'll be giving you this, Mr. Davis, so you don't bite off your own tongue.
Not in this case, Nat.
We can't go much further into this experience, ladies and gentlemen, without introducing a key concept in sadness, something which, to avoid using the word spasmo, we shall call the school spanner. Now, in my school, he was called Stephen Sadie.
And in my school, Rob Newman. There was also another one called Stuart Hindle.
The school spanner will have a number of distinguishing features. Firstly, he will be very bad at sport. In fact, he will be more than this. He will take being bad at sport into a new dimension.
Stuart Hindle, on sports day, like with all your parents there, was so crap at the 400 metres he was allowed to use his bike. And it was a stowaway shopping bike. And he still came last.
Secondly, he will carry about with him a very strange smell. Not exactly B.O., but something sort of beyond B.O. Every morning, all spanners seem to put on a perfume distilled from incontinence, cabbage, and out-of-date Duraglit, and called simply Our Gran Lives With Us. For more information, we spoke to Irving Fitz, Professor of Ankle Swelling Up at the University of No Girlfriend.
The classic spanner will have a number of distinguishing features. Firstly, traditionally, he will only have one testicle. His mother may be found wandering naked round Safeways. He will become bald well before the age of puberty, which in the spanner is approximately 27. And he will think that the hardest person at his old school in Luton is someone everyone must have heard of at his new school in Carlisle. With girl spanners, there is also a period cycle of 4 weeks on, 4 weeks on, and furthermore, there is one other thing which... we do that, he's my mate. Sorry, it didn't hurt. Didn't hurt.
Most school spanners, with their special drink and their special glasses and their one joke they get overexcited about, will of course die before the age of 21, which is only right because it prevents the horrific possibility of one of them ever rising to a position of power.
and the trade union bosses will say to him, kneel, and he will, and he will. He's not picking on me, it's just a little joke that we do together. It didn't hurt.
UKIA, hi. Yeah, hi. If you come to a busy junction, check to see if there's a lot of fast-moving traffic in the road in front. If so, go rebel yell! And then look left, look right, look left again until you find your leg.
Written English controls your life so much that you can see your life as just a series of letters from infancy.
Dear Mrs. Baddiel, here is your child's vaccination certificate. David successfully vaccinated 29 people. Congratulations.
To childhood.
Dear Mr. Hopkinson, please can you let David off PE today, as he has asked me to write you this letter. Yours, Mrs. Baddiel.
To adolescence.
Dear David, this is a hard letter to write. It is over between us. It will never work with you going to university and me staying on for another year at Sixth Form College. Yours, Mr. Hopkinson.
The English language is a beautiful thing and has been exported around the world very imaginatively.
So, what shall we call this land we have newly found?
Well, it is a land we have newly found, so why not call it Newfoundland?
It's crap, but it'll do.
Have you thought of a name for that large island we passed on the way?
Ah, the one that was all glaciers and snow, all completely white.
Yes.
Greenland.
Iceland would be better.
No, we've used that.
B-Jam.
No. I prefer Iceland. It has a sort of surreal, ironic tinge to it.
It's crap, but it'll do.
We can always change it later.
One big question mark in the history of English is, where did the American accent come from? The Pilgrim Fathers left from Plymouth, so they presumably had West Country accents. Well, something changed somewhere along the line, or all the films would look very different.
Of all the gin joints in all the Thames in all the world, he has a walk in the morning. Play it again, Sam. 2, 3, 4. I've got a brand new gun.
But perhaps the strangest of all British dialects is the one used by tabloid newspapers, who have invented a brand of English spoken nowhere in Britain, outside of newspaper offices.
How's your son Nigel? 26.
He's to wed.
Ooh, wedding bells for Nigel, 26. Is it a whirlwind romance, or is he to wed his long-time live-in lover, Lindsay, 36? 24, 36.
No, it's a tug of love, snip-hop, office Romeos, heartbreak, death plunge, sex change shocker.
He told of his ordeal.
He was ashen-faced as from his £150,000 house in London's posh Ealing, he told our reporter to four-letter shocker off.
Prince Charles has made several speeches warning that the English language is in decline. To illustrate this, he imagined a version of Hamlet in contemporary English. But this isn't really a fair example. Let's face it, there are many contemporary situations where Shakespearean language wouldn't frankly be much use.
At the third stroke, the time, that many-fingered creature, thief of days, who steals youth's visage in his carpal vice, time, sponsored by Accurist, now manufacturers of watches which do wrap round the wrist like shards of eternity, the time will be to be or not to be. That is the question.
Good evening. Tonight on the South Bank Show, I'm talking to one of the most neglected composers and lyricists of modern times, Ralph Perryman, the man who originally wrote all the songs now regularly sung on the terraces of football matches. Classics of his include He's Fat, He's Round, He's Always on the Ground, Cyril Knowles. Satirical songs such as Where's Your Father, Referee, and his latest and perhaps greatest number, You're So Shit It's Unbelievable. Ralph, What would you say was your central message?
Well, I don't know, Melvin. An artist often works without a knowledge of his basic intentions. For example, my early song, We Hate Tottenham, which goes, we hate Tottenham and we hate Tottenham. We hate Tottenham and we hate Tottenham. We hate Tottenham and we hate Tottenham.
We are the Tottenham haters.
You see, I still don't know what that song is trying to say.
Well, for me personally, I think the theme of hating Tottenham comes across quite strongly.
Really, I always thought it was a song about spring.
Well, your most recent composition was a topical song which summed up the whole spirit of this last Christmas.
You're referring, of course, to Jingle Bells, Jingle All the Way. Oh, what fun it is to see Adams put away.
Now, you're also the man behind some of the great playground songs of the 1970s, and for me, there are three things which sum up the 1970s, Watergate, the miners' strike which brought down the 10th government, and the song My Friend Billy's Got a 10-foot Willy and he showed it to the girl next door.
She thought it was a snake, so she hit it with a rake.
And now it's only 4'4". But you went on to write a series of popular carols.
Yes, that resulted in my most mature work, I think. We Three Kings of Leicester Square, selling ladies' underwear.
I've always found the central section of that piece intensely moving. I'd like to read it if I may.
I'd be honoured, Melvin.
Star of wonder, star of light, Tarzan set his pants alight.
And of course, the Tarzan motif recurs in what I like to call my opus magnus magnificent. Tarzan in the jungle, had a bellyache, wants to do a toilet, too late.
I understand that the lyrics there are allegorical.
Yes, Tarzan is actually me, and it wasn't the jungle, it was Alton Towers.
Ralph Harriman, thank you very much.
Learning a musical instrument is, for most of us, a terribly disillusioning process. When parents start their children off learning the recorder, they expect to get this. Whereas, in fact, of course... what they actually get, of course, is this. Even worse is the piano. Wherever you find a piano, there will always be someone who will go over to it and start playing the same thing. And to make it even worse, someone else will join them and start going... And thanks to Depeche Mode for that demonstration. Now, over the last year or so, classical music has started to enter the pop chart, with Nigel Kennedy and Carreras Domingo Pavarotti making the top 3. How will this success in the pop world affect classical musicians? Already there are signs that it is beginning to do so. Last week, for example, the Berlin Symphony Orchestra split. The woodwind section left owing to musical differences. And already the lead clarinetist, Hans-Peter Dortmund, has released his first solo album, Concerto for Clarinet and Orchestra, only without the orchestra. And already it seems that the familiar vices of popular music are creeping into the classics. Problem for record companies is how to cash in on the public's newfound interest in classical music. Many people know the tunes from films or commercials, but they don't know the names or the composers. In an attempt to overcome this, covers have been redesigned to help. New releases this month include Beethoven's Da-Da-Da-Da, Mozart's Da-Da-Da-Da-Da-Da-Da-Da-Da, you know the one from Trading Places, and of course, Dvorak's Brown Bread Symphony.
Staying with music of another era, we come to heavy metal. Now, recently there have been many accusations that heavy metal promotes devil worship. To show that this is nonsense, Iron Maiden released Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. A sensitive song about converting one's offspring to vegetarianism through showing them what happens in abattoirs. But all this begs the question, does this mean the devil is a heavy metal fan?
Will you turn that bloody round down, Lucifer?
Sorry, Mum.
Hey, what's this? It's got a good beat.
A heavy metal fan, the fact is, a heavy metal fan killed himself after playing a Judas Priest record backwards. Now that's really shocking, as it normally only happens when you play them forwards.
But if heavy metal fans are the minions of Satan, then the Prince of Darkness can only be one man.
Hi, Pop Pickers, Fluff here. Hey, tell you what, earlier today I punched a baby's face and buggered some chickens, not half.
A simple video recorder can reveal which top celebrities are smuggling satanic messages onto our screens through backward babbling.
Aha, all right.
Satan is your lord and master. Take your own life back after this break.
And if speaking in tongues is the mark of Satan, then the next person we need to burn is that bloke, Professor Stanley Unwin.
Goodly day, load. I am Beelzebub Lade. Your mother suckety cockbolts in hell.
I'm sure what you say. Well, nu is it English, yes.
Picture this. In a studio somewhere far, far away.